Welcome to Cognitive Vigilance Podcast. I am here with Rin, Kyle, and Nuke. Nuke, you kind of like work in the well. You're a red pill influencer. What is that exactly? Like, how did you get involved in the red pill space? Nuke, hello.
Oh,
Can you
sorry.
hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. Okay. So I read The Rational Male in 2014. So that was a long time ago. It's about to be 10 years in April that I read The Rational Male. And before that, I was. Do you guys remember Roosh? Kyle, do you remember Roosh? Roosh V.
Yeah. I didn't really
He was
read or keep up with his work, but I know who he is.
but he was like this PUA where he was like the first passport bro kind of dude that went around the world. Where he had a big forum where guys would just trade notes. That was like the real red pill, where guys would be like, "Hey, I have this problem," or "I did this. What do you guys think?" And then we'd all either make fun of them, or trash them, or help them. You know, if the question was really stupid, like, "Hey, is my car alpha?" Then we would make fun of them.
Like amputate type of thing.
Yeah.
What color is your Bugatti?
Yeah, or if the question was like, "Hey, I'm going overseas to go meet this Russian girl. What should I do?" And we're all like, dude, like," and we start, like, "Hey, have you asked? Is she real?" First off, number two, like, have you talked to her over the phone? We've seen bad stories where guys go overseas to meet a girl, and the horror stories. So
I have a friend doing that right now. We can talk about that after.
In Russia or elsewhere?
No, next to Ukraine. He'll probably come and chat. He can probably talk about it. But he is meeting a girl like out. It's like one of those places next to Russia.
Belarus.
Moldova.
I don't know. He'll know. I don't know. One of the places. Like they speak Russian, but it's not Russia. You know what I'm saying?
Probably Moldova. I think it's probably Moldova. It's probably Moldova.
I don't know, but he's been talking to her for a few years, and I've been like, just be careful, and like try to give him warnings. But they've been doing video calls and stuff, so she's real. I think he's going to meet her soon. He actually might be going to meet her now, but like he's not going to have a phone or anything. And I was like, it's so like dangerous. But like, what would they? I feel like guys, they're way more comfortable to like go do things like that. Like a girl, like I would never. Like I would,
Yeah.
I would be sold into sex trafficking or something. Like even if, like I don't know, I feel like this wouldn't happen. But he's just like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. I'm like.
Dude, some of the questionable choices I made when I was like trekking between like cities in like Morocco, Africa, and shit. It was like, oh, we need to get to this city, and it's like, all right, go to this fucking place, and you're like, is there a taxi? And they just like point to a guy with his car, and he's like,
like a random car.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think
free
this
candy
is a taxi.
van.
I think this is
a free
just
candy
van. But fuck it. All right, we got to
the less windows, the better.
Yeah. Well, the point is that like right now, I guess now it's easier to do like kind of like your own little background check on people because of social media. Things are being stored more. You can even type someone's name and you'll get a lot about them. But back in the day, we didn't have that. There was no social media yet. It was like Facebook was like 2 years old. So people were like trying to find ways for, they were asking questions. And you know what the beautiful thing about that? There was no clout involved. You had a username. There was no Facebook red pill group. There was no one was monetizing. People wanted followers for the sake of followers. Like you guys remember that South Park episode where the dad, what was his name? The dad was mad because he didn't follow his son and all he cared about was followers. Now we care about followers and money. So now people are flocking to different online communities to try to squeeze money from that, and that creates problems, and that's where we're at right now with this red pill stuff. So over the years,
when did it change? When do you think it changed from because I feel like people were definitely trying to get clout from it before at least Twitter monetized, but like I guess YouTube was monetized. YouTube's been around for a while and they have their monetization. Do you think it was like YouTube that kind of changed it?
I think the accelerator was COVID, honestly.
Yeah.
Everyone had to be inside, and then like Twitch exploded because everyone was playing video games. Pornography exploded. OnlyFans exploded. Like people were like, "Hey, I can't do anything, so I might as well sit on my computer." And then people found their way to,
Now there's all these internet cultures, pretty much. That is
right,
way more visible than they were then.
right. So COVID was the great accelerated so many. I think we underestimate how many things COVID accelerated.
Yeah.
Like people not
Very
not
true.
caring about their job anymore. Like there was, I saw a picture of a dude dressed up as like a hot dog or something in a bathroom, and he's like, "Why the f am I essential personnel?" Right, during the pandemic, and then it's just like I can see why people don't care about working, because this dude is going to work dressed as a hot dog, and he's told he's essential personnel. So it's like, a lot of people stopped caring, and then also during the pandemic, people's bad habits kind of like, either if you had good habits, you got more jacked, more healthy, more money.
Yes.
If you had bad habits, then you got fatter, you got broker,
more drunk.
You got more addicted to
more sedated.
It's like
Yeah.
it caused a big divide. So, people jumped in at when the timing was right. Like Fresh and Fit started, I think November of 2020 or December of 2020.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was January 2021, I think. I might be mistaken on that, but I know it was like late 2020, early 2021.
Yeah, and then you guys, like, I've been on Twitter for like equally as long, like no, actually longer, like 11 years now, about to be 11 years.
I'm a baby on Twitter, so.
Oh, it's
my Twitter. I started on Twitter back in 2009, but I didn't like start taking it seriously or using it until probably like 2012. Got off, back on in like 15, and then got off.
Twitter was Wild West.
No. But I started to try to get more eyes in late 2021 when I started my podcast.
Yeah, so. Well, a lot of things converged, right? And like the January 6th thing happened, right? Not to get too much into politics, but like, I don't know if you guys were logged in on Twitter on that day. Everyone was having a mental breakdown.
I was on shrooms.
Yeah, that's probably the best choice for that day, just to get away from the craziness. But the thing is, it's the same thing that's happening now. We had 4 years of Trump. We were winning the culture war. Goodbye abortion. Goodbye all the bad things that and we used Trump and his administration as a proxy to say, hey, we were winning the culture war. Even I was, wrapped up all that, right?
Oh God.
So we got the rug pull whereas like Biden got into office, right? January 6th happened, and then was it January 20th is when the president goes.
So did the red pill feel like they were like that? Trump was like some sort of.
There were
definitely there were probably some people. There were definitely some people that
that's how you got
Trump
all the trads though. Like now, that's how you.
No, well, the trads, the trads right now are going real hard at the red pill, and Nuke. I know Nuke's been going at him just as hard as I have.
Oh yeah,
but that basically like now, so. Yeah, a lot of like the trads are separating with the red pill stuff because now they as Rolo has always said, they want to pivot over to the culture war stuff, and like I'm already completely embracing the fact that like me as a pro red pill libertarian guy, I'm going to be blamed for every single problem that comes up in the next year and a half, like not just political but also cultural. Like those mostly peaceful Latinas, the very very big admirers of Nuke and myself, had said, oh, those red pill guys are the reason why all these women are identifying as liberal. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like the small internet niche is why women are identifying as liberal. Like, are you that fucking stupid? Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, that's can I push back on some of that a little bit? Because I'm curious because the red pill is a small internet niche with a lot of visibility, right? So you're getting a lot, like, even though I think it is maybe disproportionate because you get like pundits and people who are fucking rolling in and being like, oh, these people are saying these things and it's pushing that way. The red pill is shaping discourse, right? People are talking about it. And I know a lot of people who, I've learned a lot about red pill just by participating in this and being whatever the token leftist on this show. The fucking, so it's interesting, like, seeing what the kind of like internet zeitgeist is versus the red pill. I'm not surprised that there's tons of people who walk away with hate from, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't think it's like, people being informed by that's just part of the whole propaganda, like the whole system of information sharing and like kind of like soundbite culture that we have right now.
Wouldn't you say that like Andrew Tate, Pearly things, those two people, and Fresh and Fit, right? And now whatever podcast, those are the people that are the kind of made it like mainstream, I guess, right? Would you agree with that? Because I feel like it wasn't mainstream before that. Like it wasn't like people like knew what the red pill was in regards to like dating. It was like a little bit more niche, but because they took the label, even if like as Rolo, I don't think thinks he thinks probably Fresh and Fit is, even though I'm like, ooh, why do you claim them? But like, like I think that, like maybe that is why that it kind of got to where it is, or am I wrong?
No. I mean, okay. So that story I was telling you, that was getting to that point, Brenny and Ren.
Yeah.
There is a lot of angst and disappointment and kind of like isolation, atomization of not only men but women too. Like we're all just that's what COVID did, right?
Mhm.
And we're all like in our own worlds, and we're now more than ever we're living through screens, right? I tried my best to go out salsa night, play music, try to live in the real world, because that's like I'm a human being. I walk my dog, say hi to everyone I meet, because I know how unhealthy it is to be behind a screen and pretend that this gender war is real. I don't think it's
Mhm.
real. But
Mhm.
the what went on after that happened, imagine being a young guy who, most young men are Republican conservative, and you had to go through COVID, meaning you probably got fired. You probably had to leave the university. You leave your friends. You probably had to move back home with your parents that you don't like very much. You probably got sick yourself. You had family members that got sick and died. And unfortunately, a lot of people had it rough. Even me, I got
Mhm.
out of the military, and I was always used to having my shipmates and my people around me. And then I spent a whole year by myself, and
Yeah,
I kind of was not okay, right?
I feel
So
that.
yeah, so everyone went through it, right? And then January 6th happened, where a lot of young men just finally felt very disenfranchised,
Mm.
right? Like it's just no one, I'm alone. Like guys were like, I'm alone, right? Um, and then you'd go to the stores to buy groceries during COVID, right? And men and women, especially women, were shaking. They were scared because you didn't like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna catch this super disease and die in a week? Is my grandmother gonna die? So no one was okay. And then men are just like, hey, I'm alone in this. I got no one to talk to. I got no one to go answers with. In comes Andrew Tate, in comes Fresh and Fit, all these guys, right? And they accidentally tested this model where they would bring women, and we're atomized, right? Men aren't going out to talk to women, and women aren't like, the bars are empty, no one's going out. And then we get to this point where, we start having these fantasies about, hey, if these guys, if Trump couldn't do it, then maybe these guys can like fix the things in my life that, right? And that's how young guys think a lot of the times, where if I throw $100 at a podcast, um to so person A can yell at person B for their choices, then we're going to start changing the culture, which is exactly what's going on right now. And the thing is, like, during this time, I had just moved to Dallas, and I said, hey, I was stuck on a shit for 6 years. Then I had COVID to deal with, and then go out. I'm going to go out and date and like live life, because you only get one life, and I can't be mad and frustrated and scared of being sick forever. I went out there, and while all this was going on, I was kind of doing my thing, and I learned a lot. And I tell you, like, red pill, a lot of the times, what people hate the most about it is that it solves too many problems, and it's too simple. It's too easy, right? People want a step-by-step guide to solve their problems, like down to the like letter, right? When we say something like, you know, assume all women are promiscuous but don't obsess, people don't like that, right? Because some people, it's too simple. Like, what do you mean? Like, what body count? What's the right body count? And it's like, dude, who cares? Who cares about body count, right? Just assume that she likes sex. Sex feels really good. Everyone, and no, there's not a lot of repercussions for sex if you do it right. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Well, it's
Right?
kind of funny that you're going on that right now. I had
Yeah.
Meredith on my show the other day, who's in the chat, and
Mhm.
she brought up the "she's not yours, it's just your turn," and I said, "Well, it's not
Oh.
that's necessarily true 100% of the time, but as you and I have talked about, it's a very good mental model where, like, if your girlfriend, the girl you're with, or the girl you're seeing, or a plate or something like that falls off, or like things don't go right, then that mental model puts you in a space where you're like, oh." oh, I don't have to like dwell on this. Like it was just my turn.
But that's just called heartbreak. Like heartbreak is natural. Women feel it too. And I think that this is like kind of like this weird thing where it's like only men like get like have like a hard time after breakups. Like I've seen this and I have heard but actually the truth is that women actually have it the hardest immediately, but like they'll like not dwell as long. So like they'll be a hot wreck. They'll be a hot wreck for like a month. I'm actually not like this. Like I'm a wreck for like a year. Like for some reason, I don't know why, but like I think like
you're crazy. We know
the stereotype, I guess. And I don't know. This is just
women mourn differently than men.
Yeah, they do. And that women will like basically be like super upset for like a month and like won't like they'll stay in bed and eat ice cream and like the trope of like watching fucking Sex in the City crying, right? You know, like that's accurate. That is fucking accurate. Like I've seen a lot of girls do that like right immediately after a breakup, but like after a month or two they'll try to go back out there. I think like a guy won't have that immediate like emotional like destruction, but it'll be more of a longer experience of upsetness. Do you know what I mean? Like it lasts longer. So it's just like a different way of the feeling of it. And I think that people are like, oh, women get over it faster. And it's like, it's not true. They just are a hot mess for like a really hot mess for a very short time. Like for not short, like a month or two. And a guy will dwell for like a year.
See, I think it's archetypical and not like I'm sure there are gender biases, but I know plenty of like it's the type of person who gets hooked on somebody versus somebody who's like, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna be all right.
What Meredith just said, men mourn like a slow burn. I actually agree with that.
That's fair. It does. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that point. Like I do agree with that, the spirit of that a lot. One of the things I think what you said was interesting, Nuke, was that the simplicity of some of that stuff is what gets people riled up. And it's interesting because I agree, but maybe not in the way you're presenting it. Like,
well, you're a geneticist. You're supposed to look at everything,
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna like, but this is really fascinating, right? You're like, so I love the sentence that you use. That was really, really interesting way to like phrase it, where you're like, assume women are promiscuous and then don't worry about it. There's a whole like layer of things that are surrounding that come with it. That's like fascinating, right? Like to me, that feels like there's an assumption that promiscuity in a partner is bad, but you're like, it's not something you can control. Don't worry about it. But then it's so the way I see it and the way I see kind of pushback against Red Pill, like, isn't necessarily what Red Pill is saying, although we can dive into that. And Ryan and I went back and forth a little bit on some of the like responsibility of Red Pill in terms of like teaching praxeology. But it's when people interpret these things, right? You're like, oh, do this sort of thing. And then it's like, if you have a bunch of like, young men who are adhering to the advice in like Red Pill, and they're like, I'm being told to treat everyone like they're promiscuous, but not hearing that second part of like, don't let it go. Then they're like, oh, well, what's your body count? I won't date anybody.
Well, how do you treat people that are promiscuous?
Well, I'm promiscuous. So
how do you treat other people? Like, how do you treat people that you want to engage, like date? How do you treat them?
Ryan's polyamorous and he only dates promiscuous people.
I don't only date promiscuous, but if you have a body count lower than 20, we're probably not a good fit.
Like, right, but like, how do you treat people like yourself? Like, how do you treat them?
Yeah, I mean, I treat people like, so to me, body count isn't a thing other than like, like I treat people with respect. You know what I mean? Like I love encountering people who have different like life experiences. I can use some of that information to gauge whether or not we might not be, might be a good fit or not. But that's the kind of thing. I'm not angry, right? I come into the world with an abundance mindset and like the world is still a magical and wonderful place. I think because you really hit the nail on the head, where like people who feel disenfranchised or feel powerless in a culture that doesn't speak to them in a way that I do think young men are struggling to date, and I think they're getting they're getting messaging from media, they're getting messaging from like influencers and things like that, and I really think there's a rare like sliver of like the of young men out there who fit the mold, who can date easily, and that's always kind of been the case. And everyone else used to have to try to figure it out through like kind of like, you know, you'd stumble through it and these sort of things. And now I think in this kind of hyper watched, hyper video, you know, like this sort of thing, there's a lot more, like, especially with cancel culture and things, a lot of fear around making mistakes, around like trying to be yourself and getting it wrong. Yeah.
Ego.
But it's like before, you know, no one was going to fucking have a phone to catch you being like, oh, let me go like chirp at this person or let me go flirt with this person. And then
no one cares. Yeah.
Yeah. Now people, there at least now there's a sense of weight or a sense of like fear to that sort of thing.
I think that comes because I do believe like social media did create like a thing. This always existed, like the concept of social capital, right? So like you might not be getting incentivized by being paid, but you're getting incentivized via clout, virality,
attention.
You know, attention in my opinion is a form of social capital. So like people are always looking for the thing that's going to make them go viral or whatever, or like, so yeah, people like will like embarrass other people or do things like that.
Red meat.
Yeah. So like when it comes to social media, I really think that social media just really exposed and maybe perhaps, I don't want to say capitalized,
exposed
but
our
really,
sins.
Yeah, well, basically like it amplified what was already there. So like people say, oh, well, you know, this is all social media's fault. Well, no, it's just the fact that like we have this technology, we can connect with people so much easier that like if you could gather everybody that you're friends with on Facebook and do the same exact thing, it would probably look a little bit more similar. Like people might be a little bit more timid and there might be a little bit more social awkwardness, but like we're just exposed to each other in a way that we were never really used to. So like social media just amplifies our behaviors in some manners.
Well, I actually think that most people on social media will project an image that isn't accurate. Like,
yeah, no, I agree with that. But that's why I said like some people will be more socially awkward or a little bit more timid, you know, in person rather than like online where they're willing to say whatever because there's no consequences. Well, that's not the way I operate, but that's the way that a lot of people operate.
Well, I say this, like going back to the assume, don't obsess. First off, like, you know, I'm sure Roll has said this and Ryan has said this. This is nothing against you, Brandy. I love you, but the red pill is not for women, right?
Oh, I'm not red pill. I admit that.
No, I'm just, you know, like I know that you know that. Yeah, I know that you know that. I'm just, you know, but the problem is that we use strong language because we're men, and when we're probably to the point, and also a lot of the words that we use have to catch the person's eye, right? Like that's why we say dread, or we say assume she's a slut, but don't obsess. Those are strong words, right?
No,
but those words are meant to capture.
Words have power. Words
right, and that's
matter.
the power.
Linguistics matter. So like I know this is the one thing that I disagree with Rin about, because like you guys say like, oh well, we use this strong language, but it's like there's nuances here. Like for me, this sounds very postmodernist because I feel like it's not, the word is strong, like we're using the language in this very strong way, but like actually it doesn't mean that. The point is that these words, people understand the words with like how they, you know, every single person,
they understand it through their worldview.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the problem for me with like the strong language is like I'm like a huge big on nuance, and like obviously if you make these like crazy generalizations, these crazy like all women are sluts, don't obsess, unless there's like a lot of context there explaining. I feel like just a line like that.
Why do we say that? I think why do we say that? Remember, the red pill is just not us to talk. There's a reason. Why do we say that, Brandy?
Well,
why do we say there's a reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying earlier, it's useful mental models, right? Because you're trying to
there you go. Right. Like if I meet a girl that I like,
probably not useful for everyone because some people misunderstand the message, right?
Right. Well, that's
okay, but they can't be helped sometimes.
But what if they're the majority? What if it's? Do you think that it's
I misinterpreted it too?
Majority? Yeah,
I misinterpreted it.
The red pill isn't, but red pill praxeology may not be for the majority, and that's okay.
Maybe you guys should make it like a fraternity, and so you have to be accepted.
No
gatekeeping.
No.
So it is interesting though. So I do want to tease this out more. I'm fascinated by this idea of like the weight, right? Where it's like you can say something like, you know, women are sluts, don't obsess, and you'd be like, that's aimed at people. Right. But if it's being said on the internet and then a bunch of women are like, well, what the fuck? You know, why are you saying this? Why are you teaching this? And they're like, are you fine with people being upset at the red pill?
I am fine with hurting a girl's feelings for a couple minutes or a day so a guy won't take his own life.
See, I like where the thinking goes there.
Yeah.
And I also am okay with explaining to those women like, hey, you know, I'm not sorry for this language, but please excuse. Like, I'm okay with, you know, like, because women love this stuff too. They're fascinated by intersexual dynamics. I think everyone is. It's pretty cool. You know, it's the study of our junk and what do we do with our junk, you know, basically. But the thing is, like, I misinterpreted that phrase. I did. And you know how I got over it? I went and experienced the world. I got off my computer, I got off my phone, and I dated. And I found out, yeah, this girl's a slut. And oh, she was a slut. And then I dated another girl's like, this girl's kind of a slut, but she's a slut for me. Huh. That's good. I want a girl to be promiscuous. But in order for her to be like that, she needed to have maybe other guys, and she needed to be more fun and sexual. And turns out that she's able to be sexual with just me, right? Because that's what I want. Now, Ren, Brandy, Kyle, you guys may have different things, right? But that phrase is you don't get broken up with as a 19-year-old guy and see that phrase and you understand it completely right away. It's gonna be a messy, painful road, right? But at least you have a road, right? Telling a guy who just broke up that, hey, every woman you meet, you have to give her the benefit of the doubt is leading them to failure. Right, but telling a guy, assume she's a slut, don't obsess. He's gonna be like, yeah, these girls are sluts, and then he's gonna date 3 or 4 girls. One of them is gonna be great. One of them is gonna be a real slut, and then the other 2 are gonna be whatever normal girls. He's gonna be like, wait, now that I've experienced the thing that no one talks about, now I can take this phrase, and now it makes much more sense. Oh, that's what they meant, because you can't read a piece of sheet music and then envision it. You have to play it, and now you listen to it, right?
So
and that's
I like where you're going, and I really do anchor onto the I will harm people's feelings to save a life kind of mindset, right?
Yeah.
The problem, or not maybe
necessary
not a problem,
collateral damage.
Let me look at that though from the right off the bat. We're admitting that action is causing someone's feelings to be hurt, right? There's a little bit of harm being done. So I think one of my biggest issues with the red pill is it stops there, right? You're like, I'm going to save a life and not care about harming one. And what I want when I hear people talking about personal integrity and like the kind of like that level of like, let's really, you know, dive into this is how do we take that? How do we make the next sentence that has the same impact but does less harm? And to me, the red pill isn't interested in taking that next step or exploring that next step. It's found something that works and it doesn't need to improve it. Say again?
Right.
You're not interested, right?
We're not interested.
Right. And
we're
so
not
to me,
okay.
That's where I have pushback against the red pill.
But I mean, but the thing is that what we're doing isn't red pill. So it's like we kind of created something that's like not anti-red pill, but also
no, I totally I understand.
No, like Brandy, yeah, Brandy. I think what we've kind of done here is done a really, really great job of exploring ideas between all different ideas when it comes to dating, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important about the show is that we're not like explicit red pill. Like, so I'm obviously the token red pill guy. Brandy, you're where you are, and then Rin is wherever he is.
Rin is the scientist. Rin is the smart scientist guy.
He's the smart guy on the panel.
To be the smart one on this panel. Brandy probably fucking can run laps around me mentally, but I can play around in the lab. But no, I really do want to stick to that thinking because I have learned from every red pillar we've brought on. I have, and I've really appreciated them sharing that. But then again, what I see is getting something that's good enough, and then like maybe monetizing or maybe using that. And to me, maybe it is because I'm a scientist, right? Maybe it is because I'm like, oh, you know, I see an imperfect tool that is helping people, but it is I'm seeing heavy correlation to causing issues in society as well. I mean, for one, it's being divisive, but also there are people who are coming through the red pill praxeology and walking out hating women.
Well, can I also?
Well, yeah, but once again, this goes to the point of just Brandy, some guys are going to be fuck ups no matter what.
But you're pushing that you're not taking credit, right? So.
Wait, but like we can't control other people.
This is the number one question that that people who make content we get. Like, how are we going to be held accountable for those guys? Listen, here's the thing. The red pill is amoral, a-religious.
What about the post-red pill? Because I have videos of people that are
Fine.
post-red
Oh,
pill.
I can't wait to get on this.
Hold on.
let Nick talk.
The thing is, like, I can only make the label on the glue bottle say, "Don't do this." If people take that and eat the glue, then I'm not liable because I said it. And what is the label on the glue bottle that tells you what to do with the red pill? There's a thing called Rule 0, right? Which is the show we do every Saturday, where like Rollo, Ryan, all the bunch of the red pill guys that make content get together as individuals. We're not like some Legion of Doom where we figure out the next evil plan we'll do, and we go on there and we talk about stuff. And number one, Rule 0, I'm sure Kyle knows this. Rule 0 is the red pill is only concerned with one thing, and that's increasing men's sexual power and creating a positive sexual identity for men. Right? We know biologically that women are really good from hiding men from each other. Right? That's a biological reality. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how God or evolution or whatever made them. They can't help it. Right? If they like a guy, but they like this guy a little more, they'll probably hide them from each other because that's a survival tactic. That's normal. As in the red pill, guys see that and they get mad and emotional, but that's okay. It's supposed to burn. Right? When I posted that picture today of that girl who had like 60 body count, that the meme picture, and everyone got emotional, both men and women. That's why I post that, because I want people to start ripping out that stuff, that blue pill conditioning that they have. Because if you never face it and you just keep going to the side of comfort, then you're never gonna get to the bottom of why you feel like, why is it that a woman's body count, why does it make you feel a certain way? Well, biologically speaking, it's dangerous because the kid might not be yours. Well, do we have paternity tests now? Okay, yeah. So there's one way to mitigate that. How high is your body count? I'm sure if a guy had a high body count himself, he wouldn't worry as much. Like you just said, Ren, like, hey, I need a sexually experienced gal, right? Women are sexual, and hey, women are sexual. Sex feels really good, right? There's a lot of good-looking people out there that are fun and exciting, right? We have Tinder now, we have Hinge. Like, these are realities, whether they're good or bad, that are happening. So as a guy, you can pout, you can be angry, right? But that's not the red pill's fault. The red pill just says, this is what is. What you do with that is your problem. Whether you want to get married, turn to God, spin plates, or whatever, that's on you. And that's the part that people hate the most, because they want to recruit the red pill to their ideology. So if I say
they want to use it for their brand.
Yeah. So if I say she's not yours, it's just your turn, everyone's gonna be like, wow, that's cowardly. But then I have to break it down, right? And I say, hey, well, are women property? No. If a girl leaves, there's no repercussions, right? She just leaves.
I agree with that.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
So she's not yours, meaning she's not your property. It's just your turn, meaning your turn can last 40 years, or it could be one night, right? Yeah. But as a guy, you cannot base your self-worth on your relationship status, right?
Exactly.
So if she leaves, you're allowed to mourn. I'm a human being. Every time a girl leaves me, I get sad for a month, right? But then I have to understand, like, hey, she's not your property. There's nothing bad happens if you can't call the cops. Hey, my girlfriend's gone. Gotta find her. There's nothing you can do, right? And because there's no agency there, and because you can't affect that, you're wasting your time and emotions on something that's futile. And we want every guy to be able to handle this reality that women leave, whether it be for a good reason or a bad reason.
This happens on both sides,
Right, but again, the red pill is for us.
Is for men.
No, I know. I understand, but I think maybe because it becomes so, like, I understand that, but I think like it almost creates this mindset that it's only happening to men. Sometimes.
Okay, but once again, the red pill is focused for men. Once again, like Nuke said with Rule 0, positive male identity, positive male sexual strategy. So like that's what the red pill is here for. Like in society, largely affirms women's identity and the way that they feel, and they're looking to comfort women at every turn. Men generally don't have this kind of space. Like, I'm beyond blessed to have a great family, a great wife, a great workplace that I can turn to when shit goes south. There's a lot of guys who are not in that same situation, and sometimes the red pill may be that space for them, or maybe it's their Discord community, maybe it's their World of Warcraft guild.
Yeah, well, also too, like, okay, so now we have, and then what happens now is that now, like you said, Rand and Kyle, Randy, the red pill's gone sort of mainstream. I wouldn't say that mainstream because I can go down the street in my apartment complex and I'll say, hey, do you guys know?
And nobody's going to talk about it.
They're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
They'd probably know what hypergamy is before.
They know who Andrew Tate is.
Yeah.
I think most probably wouldn't even know who Pearly Things is, but I think Andrew Tate is what everyone thinks about when they think of the red pill.
Yeah.
If I ask my boomer coworkers who Andrew Tate is, they're like generally anywhere from like 40
That's
to
the bald
60
guy,
years
right?
old.
The Bugatti guy.
Yeah. They're going to know who Andrew Tate is.
In our generation, though, like I'm talking about people under the age of like 45. I think that people when people think of the red pill, because it has become to a point of mainstream, but people think Andrew Tate, and maybe Pearly Things is getting to that level. I mean, Fresh and Fit, I would say, isn't even there yet. Most people wouldn't know who they are. Podcast is now, I think whatever podcast is now getting to that point, to like not Andrew Tate level, but like up there where it's kind of like the thing that people see on like Instagram and stuff, because it's whatever the algorithm feeds you, right? So you'll like those are the things that I'll see just like naturally in the algorithm on Instagram, and I don't look at any of that stuff on Instagram. So like I'm like I don't know they
probably not healthy.
Like, no, they do feed that kind of content a little bit.
Yeah, it's not fully.
How it
works.
Yeah. And then and I wanted to talk about like whatever podcast.
Before we jump, can I follow up one more thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Nuke, I agree with everything you said with it. I like the idea that like the red pill has a demographic and they focus on it. I think what I'm most curious about is imagine if there was a similar sort of praxeology that was maybe a little more something, but it still focuses on men, positive sexual identity. That's like the goals are the same. The language is a little bit different or has some sort of like different shtick that it's like kind of like coming together with. We'll call it the orange pill.
We do have that. It's called Christianity.
Well, so what I'm saying is imagine something very similar to the red pill without, but in doing so, the rhetoric is softer for other people. But you're
calling for tone policing. Essentially, right?
I'm not trying to come in with tone. I'm saying imagine something existed that was, incrementally better while still having the same positive results, right? Like,
but what are your parameters for better though?
All right, so let's say the red pill praxeology, whoever you're bringing it in from the internet, right? A group of 100 young men who are struggling. Let's say 20 of them are thriving under red pill praxeology, right? And 10 of them are walking away more angry than, or more, like violently, aggressive towards whatever. And now under the orange pill praxeology, you're still getting 20 of those men are getting improvement, but only 2 people are walking away angry or something like that. Is there do you feel the red pill in that instance would need to convert? Or red pill it's like, no, we can still sell our version. There's rooms big enough for both of us.
Well, first off, we're not selling anything. The women are selling it. Women are the ones that push men here, right? So we're not like, hey, come to the red pill. No, it's women break a girl's heart. Or like today, I said this woman posted something about a woman getting hurt because of like a pedophile or something like that. Terrible story, very sad, right? But they post that stuff for clout and as a proxy to hate men. Like if you really cared that much about defeating pedophiles,
don't you guys do the same thing though?
Hold on.
Yeah, I don't want to. If you guys,
we're getting there.
Yeah, okay. if you get I lost my train of thought. Okay, sorry. So you're fine. She posted something like that, right? And women like that post like really bad things that happen to young women, sadly, they don't do it because they care about the issue. They do it because it's a proxy to hate men. They're trying to get clout while also being, through a proxy of some criminal somewhere hurt somebody. That person's probably going to go to jail, get killed. But now they use it as a proxy to hate men. So I commented, okay, so you're so interested in this. What's your plan, right? Are you going to get into law enforcement? Are you going to become a therapist for these women? Are you going to become a paramedic, maybe a doctor to help women that get hurt, right? None of that, right? Why? Because it's all this. It's all talk, right? That's what, and I bring this back to the red pill because the red pill is like, hey, we don't care that you're trying to save the West. That's not a problem. We don't care that you're trying to save everyone. We care about the individual. Here it is. it's your problem to fix your life. Your happiness is your own problem. Not Ren's, not Brandy's, not mine, not Rolo's. Your happiness is your own problem.
I agree.
And that's called ownership. And
yep.
I got told that in the military all the time. I would go bitch because, you know, morale was low. I'd be like, hey, boss, morale's low. Can we do this? It's just like, hey, your morale is your own problem. Like, we got a deployment. We got, you know, we got to go to the artist.
You got
circle.
shit to do.
We got shit to do. Like, figure out a way to get happier. I know it's tough. Everyone's in the same boat. But that's the biggest thing people also hate about the red pill is that's why we're fighting with the Christ bros. Because they want everyone to get together and fix everything because they can't get laid.
They want us to save the world.
Right. They want to save the world. But here's the thing. Who has tried to save the world in the past? Trump fought a little bit against establishment.
What though?
Exactly. Like, save it from what? What are we saving it from?
You can only save yourself. That's the whole point, though.
Well, I think this is why we're libertarians, though, is because like libertarianism is all about like personal responsibility and personal accountability and like
But I know where Rin's coming from. Rin's coming from a place of compassion. He wants to help everyone. But the thing is, Rin, when I was a nuclear operator. Okay, sort of. Okay, that's all right. No, you know what I think of you, Rin, right now at the moment, right?
I'm a hippie. That's fine. Yeah.
Right. But like when I was in the military, I had to tell men that were like on the edge, right? Can I say the S word?
What's the S word?
The suicidal, right?
Oh yeah.
We're still too small to worry about monetization.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, is there a new S word?
And I had to tell those men, hey, get up and make your bed. Yeah, get up and make your bed. And everyone likes to talk about what's best for young men, but when you especially guys in the military had to in charge of these young 25, 24-year-old guys, I had to live with them. They were bunking above me and below me, and I know what a broken young man looks like, and it's not pretty. It's like they stop taking. You got to tell them to take a shower. There's suicide watches where you have to follow them 24/7, even to the bathroom while they pee and poop, because you can't leave them alone for a second. This is a real issue, right? The problem is that talking about it is enough, right? So young men tends to be this like thing that everyone wants to protect and take care of and all that stuff. But I can tell you right now, the most motivating thing that I said to someone and was said to me in the military, right, was no one cares that you suck.
Yeah,
I actually feel like women need to hear that too, though. Like,
it's funny.
I think that should be like a general thing for everyone, not just men.
But some people, if you have like sexual value on a marketplace that does these sort of things, people will care if you are,
like real quick to Nuke's point. I remember seeing a saying, and I must have been in middle school when I saw this. A friend of mine said, I'm pretty sure she just saw it somewhere and she posted it and she didn't really like think about it, but she said, nobody cares if you're happy or sad, so you might as well be happy. And from there, I'm like, God damn, that is like spot on. That literally nobody cares, so you might as well fucking just be happy and run with it. And that's kind of been like a very comforting saying, at least in my mind.
It's also like it's great advice. I don't think that it's like entirely true, because like people that care about you obviously care. Like I care about if the people around me are sad.
Yeah, I mean, I give a fuck about the three ends here.
No, I give a fuck about a lot of fucking people. I don't know about you, but I do. But here's
Yins are great, trust me.
But that doesn't matter. I actually think that the advice of like get your shit together is because it's caring. Like this is why when people say like I don't want to like be like libertarian fucking propagandist right now, but like in my opinion, I think I actually consider it compassionate, even though everyone else thinks it's selfish.
Well, let me ask you this, Brandy.
Compassionate because
it's right.
You're caring for, you need to get your shit together. It's good advice because you need to get your shit together.
Exactly.
Like, I agree with that.
But let me ask you this question. Let me make it really hard. Let me add a layer of difficulty, right? Let's say we tell men, get your shit together, right? And Andrew Tate says it. Everyone says it. Get your shit together. But then we also tell them, hey, just because you got your shit together doesn't mean you'll get girls.
Yeah.
So what do we say to those men who've worked hard their whole lives, they made six figures, but they see a 25-year-old guy get the girl?
Many of the people that are the biggest intellectuals and inventors of the world didn't get girls. Okay, so
right, but how do we reconcile that?
In my opinion, this is the thing, you know, like there are a lot of people throughout history men that did not get girls, and like, do you know what they did?
So they tell
changed
those guys
the fucking world, you know, like.
Brandy, but that's not useful. Like I'm trying. Okay, what's your mic cut out?
Yeah, the messaging that if you get a 6-figure job and have your shit together and you'll get girls is wrong. And I mean,
I know.
you know what I mean? Like
I think
that's
that is wrong, but I do think it's
Okay.
figuring out what your passion is. What are you obsessed with? Like in
Yeah.
regards to it, like interest, you know, like
I
for
mean,
Well,
me,
you know what's
I'm
funny
like
is that like
I am like
one
a
thing.
nerd, so I
Yeah.
have these kinds of like
Well,
that
Ryan and I
microphone.
had kind of went back and forth about this a little bit on one of his streams a couple Saturdays ago, and like women and I think people in general like to see people give a fuck about something. So like,
Mhm.
I was dealing with a mold problem in my house a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I like fixed it, but my wife was very, very entertained. Holy shit, look who dropped by in the chat.
Yeah, bro.
My wife was very entertained by like the two guys that came by, specifically the second guy who's like an older dude, and explained mold to like a T. She was fascinated by it. And it was really, really cool. And like what I could tell that like she was excited to see somebody that just like gave a fuck about their job. He didn't even do anything. He just gave us an estimate and explained how mold came in the house. But it was like that passion that bled through. So like when I'm playing music, when I'm talking on the podcast, when I'm deadlifting 500 pounds, I give a fuck.
Yeah.
That excites me.
Yes.
And that excites other people because they, you know, people who care about me like to see me succeed. And I'm the same way. When I see
You have
like
to care.
my
You have to
friend,
care.
yeah, right. When I see Nuke on Rule Zero, I'm stoked for him because I know like he's, you know, big red pill guy and he's on a big show. When I see my friends, you know, Dave DeCamp, Pat McFarlane, Kyle Anzalone with, let's say, Judge Knapp or on, you know, Russell Brand show, I'm stoked for these guys because like this is what they give a shit about. They're passionate about this topic and they get to be on a huge platform giving a shit about what they give a shit about most. That's
Right.
awesome. And I could be
here's the
happy
thing.
for those people.
But here's the thing. Let's get into a young guy, a 28-year-old guy who's struggled throughout his 20s. Let's get into young Nuke's mind, right? I was on
Baby Nuke. We're gonna go into the Baby
Let's
Nuke's
do it. I love
brain.
it.
Yeah. Six
What was
years.
was he okay, hold on. Was Baby Nuke as attractive as he is now? That's all that's the real question.
I'll show
being
you I'll
gay
show you guys
again.
I'll show you guys pictures of military me. But okay, you've worked hard your whole life. You're a licensed reactor operator now. You're kind of respected in your job. And now you're just like, okay, where are the girls, right? A lot of and here's the problem. This is another place where people hate the red pill because we tell people like, hey, the entitlement you have to get over it, you know.
No, I agree with that.
And this is where game and pickup artistry kind of intersect, where we tell guys like, hey, you need to start learning about women throughout your 20s. You know, you can't wait till you're 30, right? Because women women know how to manipulate us into, you know, giving them free stuff and time.
Well, I actually think that's what the trad pill's all about, in all honesty. But
well, the thing is, yeah, but like, and the thing is, like, there's a lot of like misconceptions and things that you need to destroy with experience, and experience is the only way. Like your rage phase, right? The famous red pill rage phase, where you find out that things aren't the way that you were told in Disney movies, right? So you get mad, and like Rin was saying, you get mad and you run off, and men need to find a way to channel this anger. Some of them become trad pilled, where they think, hey, if we attack degeneracy online through tweets, I guess, then we can level the playing field, and I'll be able to get a wife. And all those nukes out there are licking all the ice cream, and I should attack them because. And then Rins and the Brandys and the Kyles are all licking all the ice cream, and I won't get anything, and they're evil. It's intersexual competitions, basically saying I want to lower the bar so I can participate, right? Or they can go to black pill, where it's just like it's not worth it. I'm gonna become fat, play video games, pornography, whatever. And then there's guys that are just like despondent. I'm just gonna like work, and then maybe something will come from the sky. And then there's guys that find the red pill and they're just like, oh, but like, is this a group of people? No. Is this a ideology? No. Do I have to apply everything? No, it's not a cult. You pick what you want, right? So for me, the thing that helped me the most as a guy, especially now, is she's not yours, it's just your turn, right? Because women leave. You could be everything. We have this.
You're a sensitive little baby Nuke.
Yeah, a little bit. But the thing,
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, I love sensitive
I'm a romantic
men,
man.
okay?
When once in a while.
Romantic men, that's not a bad thing. So
I
it's
mean, I think that's I think
I like that.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that's like a more of a default state for men because they think that like, hey,
Right.
I know romantic things may get me a chance with a woman that I really, really like. Like, obvious, you see all the guitars behind me. What was one of the first things I thought about when I was 14, 15 years old trying to get a girlfriend? If I can play this song for a girl that I really like,
Only Hope by Mandy Moore. Only Hope by Mandy Moore.
Right.
Every time. Or Titanic.
So I hear all this, and I think where my discordance comes from is in my world, like in the world I live in, the poly community, where everyone's really like engaged with like good communication, and fucking sex is like less of a bound, you know, like because people are all having sex with each other or not, however they want. The kind of mindset where people come out of interacting with like the red pill, like women are manipulative and guys have to game to like both, like those are mindsets that are not serving either side, right?
But do you want to be manipulated, Ren?
So I have been somebody who was actually probably much more manipulative in my past than
but
like.
There's good manipulation, there's bad, right?
So I actually agree with that. You can be manipulative in a good sense, but I think there's an almost. Do you assume that all women are manipulative, or is that kind of like a
yes.
You know? Okay, so have you encountered people where you felt that women were not like where women were able to conquer the predisposition for being manipulative? Have you met people who you felt were genuine women?
Like women? Well, define. Okay, there comes a point in your journey as a man where you kind of accept women so much that it's endearing when the good and the bad parts of themselves become endearing, right? Because you are so accepting of women's true nature that you're just like, you know, I've had girls that ghosted me, that I've had romances with and then ghosted me and never come back, right? Or just
sure.
And yeah, I get sad, but I just look at it like, you know, I just hop on my piano and play and, you know, let it all out and move on. But like the things, women are manipulative because they have to be, right? Because they're not strong like men. Like men, we're constantly ready. We're killing machines. Basically, we split. Like we're very strong. We could break things. We could punch through walls. Like we are killing machines.
I agree with that.
Women can kill, but they're not as strong as men. So they have to find, you know, biologically they evolved
like to poison people and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but here's the problem.
Or kill you in your sleep.
If I go on a date, Ren, right, and the girl wears a low top, that's manipulation. But hey, I like that manipulation, right?
Sure.
If a girl touches my shoulder on a date, and I was like, oh, okay, that's manipulation. In the way I want, right? But if I go up to the bathroom and I use the bathroom and I leave my phone out, and I see that, you know, she's went through my phone while I was in the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, I know she went through my phone. She probably saw a Tinder notification or something. But you know what? Women are like that. Women.
But what I'm saying is
Tinder's great.
You got to take the good with the bad is what I'm saying, Ren. There's no perfect girl.
That, but like so what you're just describing is created because of like the aggro of the world, right? Women have to put up their own shields just like men have their own versions of it and things like that. And I agree. But you can create spaces where everyone feels comfortable enough to be able to communicate direct. Like, have you?
Direct communication.
Like where you can literally
my entire relationship is based on direct communication.
Yeah.
Because me and him, we have a heart. We need direct communication, which is like, I think caused problems in both of our relationships in the past because we both are autistic. And so like, sometimes we don't fucking pick up on weird like nuances. And it's also how I've gotten into abusive relationships because I didn't pick up on red flags that I should have, you know? So like me and him, we have to like, be very direct with communication, and I don't see that as a bad thing. I think that that's a good thing, and I've actually brought this up with red pill creators in the past where they say like, no, don't, communication's bad. I'm like, I literally need. Well, they did. They
well,
said
you communicate
that, like,
through actions.
You over communication. Yeah, well,
action is the communication. That's the part. Like, and I talk to women about this too, and they get like, there are women who I've taken out on a very nice dinner. I wore my best suit. I've taken them out, and they're like, "How come you don't say you love me?" And I'm just like, I
How long were you
bought a new
dating this
shirt.
girl? A year?
A couple months, right? And I took her out to a nice dinner and all that stuff. And then, there are women that I invite them over and I cook for them and I play piano for them and all that stuff. Like, I do things for them that show that I'm invested, but they're just like, why don't you say you love me, or why don't you do this and why don't you do that? It's just, listen, I'm communicating to you that I'm invested. The thing is that I'm not saying it the way you want, right? And if the sexes ever want to come together, they got to accept that we communicate differently, or else we're going to be talking around in circles.
If that person had instead of like coming at you accusatory and like, why don't you do these things? If instead they were like, hey, like, I see you doing all these things, but I really like appreciate the words. Would you say the words to me? Would you have a problem being like, all right, cool, I love you?
You want the nuke?
Yeah, give me the honest
womanizer.
Answer.
You want the womanizer answer?
Sure. How about the true answer?
Well, I usually say when girls ask me to say things, I tell them, don't tell me what to do.
So, I mean, that's totally fine, but like, again, it's like, to me, so
I think it's weird for a girl to ask if you like, do you like, for you to try to say it, because for me it's like,
but I say it in a charming way,
organically.
No, like, I'll boop her nose and I'll be like, don't tell me what to do, and then
I
move on.
I know how to flirt. I know how to charm.
But the thing is, you see how I just manipulated you guys. I used my charm and I was like, don't tell me what to do, and you guys agreed that that's how you talk to women, is that you use language, right? But you, like, at the end of the day, right, what happens is a lot of people, let's step back and look at what's going on. We have dating apps now, we have the internet, we have social media, and here's what I've seen, right? This is my personal opinion, right? This is not red pill. This is what I think. We as the sexes don't have much to offer each other anymore, and it's frustrating. Let me get to my point. It's frustrating the hell out of us. It's really frustrating, right? Because, like I was saying earlier, you as a guy get to your 30s, you're making six figures, you're in shape, you have good, whatever, and then girls still don't want to settle with you. The 26-year-old girls, 25-year-old girls that you like don't want to settle, even though you're all these things that podcast A said you should be in order to get women, right? So you're just like, what the hell? There's a famous story in Aaron Clary's book. It's called Michael's Story, I believe. Is it Michael's Story? Yeah, where this guy, he did everything right. He had hot girls, he was spinning plates, but then he ended his own life, right? Because he just never, he was still tied to that idealist, like, a girl should like me now because I'm all these things, right? And that's the opening of Aaron Clary's, not his latest book, the second to last book, right? The Menu. And that hit me hard, because every guy, when they hit their 30s, starts, we start hitting our stride in life. We get more positions at work, opportunities open up, our loser friends go away and the cool friends stay. Like, life gets a little better, right? But there's still this new thing with technology, where we think that all the things that now we are what women are looking for, because that's what it was 10 years ago, right? And then we realize, like, wait, girls have their own jobs. Girls can have sex quietly without anyone knowing. Girls are traveling. If they want to go see somewhere and get some exotic men, they can go do that, and no one will know. They can go on a weekend, and I know this because I've dated several women long-term casually, and I got an inside look at a girl's life, and it made me sad, right? Because
what made you sad? Because to me, it sounds like women are out living their lives, having a good time. Like, I don't understand what.
Right, but like, there's a difference between that and then them trying to reconcile. Hey, I like you, but I gotta choose, living my life on my own term, blah blah. Because I have money now. Women would rather get in hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars in debt, travel, and be alone all their 20s and maybe even their 30s than settle down with a guy, even if that guy is,
I
top
don't know if I
10%.
think the majority of women feel that way. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know if I can
I
agree with
don't
that
think
one either.
I don't
The
agree
marriage,
with
6
that.
per 1,000. 6 per 1,000.
No, but they might not get married, but I know a lot of people that aren't married that are like living with their boyfriend that are in long-term relationships because they just don't want to get state married anymore.
Right,
And like
but
a
like,
lot of
what
people don't, and
medium is the
people
message?
use that like they're like people aren't getting married, but it
Well,
doesn't
why
mean
are there
that
so many
people
dating
aren't.
podcasts?
Well, because there's always going to be a lot of single men, and that's always going to happen, unfortunately. But like
Right.
that has happened always throughout history.
But you don't think there's women that are trying to figure this stuff out too,
There
and a
are,
lot of them
of
maybe.
course, of
This is
course.
why I
I also
say,
think that there are a lot of women and men that like like so it comes from a guy's perspective. I used to work as a dating consultant. I worked with men that were very wealthy. They would hire me to help them like meet women, right? So when in
ooh,
those there were guys that had a lot of money that would look at it like a business transaction. They had like prerequisites. This is the kind of girl I want, and they of course had to be young. They had to look a
mhm,
certain way, which were obviously the number one things that they were looking for was like appearance and youth, right? We all
Right.
know, right? Because they thought that their money was enough, right? And then women, on the other hand, have these really high expectations too, because they'll be like, well, I make a lot of money and I'm decent looking and all. But the thing is they'll think that they're being successful is the thing that will make men attracted to them, which isn't really like on. But to be fair, I don't think really, I think it comes down to like you actually developing yourself as a fucking person. Like it is not about money or looks. Everyone keeps focusing on that, but like in truth, the guy that says that he wants like the hottest girl, the youngest hottest girl in the world, he will still date the 35, 33-year-old that's compatible with him. If there's
mhm,
compatibility and they are vibing and she's attractive enough.
mhm.
She's not ugly. He will date her, right? So like I
Color
think that
effect
like
cunt.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of like people will like create these like guidelines. Like it's like they're being like, "Oh, this is what I need." But like in the truth is you're looking for someone compatible with you.
Superficial
Compatible with your
pre-selection. Yeah, there's a book that talks about this where people say online what they want, but they just end up settling for something different. It was in that one dating book. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree that people don't
The
know
one
what they actually
the one about the
want.
dating apps and all the data.
A dataclysm.
Right. And then obviously the internet and yeah, dataclysm. Yeah, I was on the book Dataclysm, superficial pre-selection, where I did a whole show about this. Guys and girls go out like this is more prevalent in girls because guys kind of accept, like, yeah, whatever whatever girl I get, right? But for girls, they get interviewed, they get a microphone and a light stuck in their face or on a podcast,
yeah.
and they say, I want a guy that buys me
Yeah.
a 15K ring, right? They
Mhm.
don't even know what 15K looks like.
Yeah.
Like women
Well, a
women
lot
are
of
not.
people
Yeah, and I've dated women that have high, high standards, and then I'm just like I meet none of those, but you like me. You see what I'm saying? It's not
yeah.
real.
But
It's
that
not real, but but everyone thinks this is real, and even like the men that I've worked with created all of these standards, but like the point is like the standard that they've created actually inhibits them from meeting someone that could be compatible.
And whose
And
problem is
that's the
that?
same with men. It's both sides, in my opinion, just from what I've dealt with. I've seen it on both sides, but
It's not men's problem.
I was dealing with wealthy
so
men
so
and
that
women
so Nuke
men.
that is something that because I can almost always agree with all of this until I've seen that space, right? So the it's not men's problem is a like how like
She's
women
not
will
yours.
like
It's just your turn.
no. So what I'm saying is we create this culture of like how like if you just say something nice to like a woman and she might like react negatively to you
Sure.
because right
Yeah,
that is the problem. That is the collective men's responsibility by like because if you're the 30th person to just speak to this woman and the 29 before you said like negative shit to them, but because it's not men's problem, right? Like we are hurting each other is what my point is. When you get to a space where people have a little bit more compassion and you
Mhm,
Yeah.
still do all these things, right? You're still trying to sexually empower yourself. You're still trying
mhm,
to do these things, but you just hold on to a little bit of compassion, right?
mhm.
And then the fucking the bitch like force fields come down, the fucking like the anger and aggression, and when people feel more comfortable fucking like saying no. You stop getting manipulation. You stop, like, I literally live in that world. Like, and I've gone from the world you're talking about, where people play games and people are looking through each other's phones and horrible shit. And then you move to a place where people are more secure with themselves, more comfortable with themselves, and feel like literally safer. Like, they're like, this person's not going to punch the wall in front of me, or this person's not going to fucking spike my drink. And then they have more sex, and then they have more, you know what I mean? It's
well,
like,
not everyone's high IQ, Rin. Like,
no, but what I'm saying,
that is the problem, though.
But what I want to advocate for is the self-empowerment that the red pill is bringing, but also the collective empowerment to create the space where people are playing these games less. Like, I want the red pill to be self-terminated. Does that make sense? And I feel like you guys are stopping in the middle, where you're like, we're going to give you the weapons to survive this place, but no one's trying to get rid of the weapons at all.
Right. Well, what happens if you try to get everyone on the same page, right?
I don't need everyone on the same page. I need more.
I would actually say this analogy differently. It's like they give people the weapons, but don't teach them how to use them.
That's also,
but that's not the red pill job. To teach you how to use.
It's not their job. But again, if you guys took
I'm not your daddy
for that job,
that's Andrew Tate.
We would have a better.
If I give someone a gun, don't you want to teach them how to use it?
Sure, but I mean, there's a difference between a gun and then there's a difference between a gun. Yeah, there's a difference between a gun and then just giving people information. Listen. It's
the morality.
So, like,
you guys talk about morality,
can be dangerous.
Yeah, we can't prescribe people's morality. So, like, this is the problem that I run into with religious people. And, like, look, I love all the religious people, but, like, I can't tell you.
I love them all.
I do. Believe me, I have tons of religious people that come on my podcast frequently, but, like, I'm not going to be able to tell them how to live their lives. I can't tell anybody how to live their life. So, like, when it comes to nutrition stuff as well, like, I can't tell you what to eat exactly, because, like, my diet is going to look completely different than your diet. So, like, same deal with the red pill. Like, the way that you're going to pursue game, pursue women, pursue relationship is going to be completely different the way that I would personally do it. So, like, the best I can do is give you the information, and then, you know, hey, whatever you do with that information is completely on you. Like, you are giving people their own agency. I can't make other people do things.
Of course. But if you're going to give someone a weapon, you should teach them how to use it.
But this is not necessarily a weapon. There's a difference between a weapon and information. Right?
Well, I think information.
What gives men the will to live? What gives men the will to live is agency, right? Nothing breaks a man's spirit more than slavery, right? Like, have you seen men that are unhappily married? They're broken. They're just, you know, look at Prince Harry. Like, he's broken inside. Like, he had to give away all his guns, you know?
Yes.
But when you tell men, hey, make yourself your own point of origin, that's even that's better, because what you're saying is like, hey, you live in a reality, you live in an environment, right? The environment will decide whether you go to jail, you know, depending on your actions, right? Well, you could be somewhere where if you talk to women, you can go to jail. I think England has laws against that. Or you could be in a place where if you don't talk to women, you're a weirdo. Like Latin America, you have to talk to women. You have to kiss them on the cheek. You have to dance with them. You have to hug them. Everybody's environment is different, and we can't apply one thing to all. That's what people want to do because it gives them power in their ego, but we don't care, right? So what we say is this: if you're a guy that's passport broing it up in the Philippines, or you're a guy here in Texas, or you're a guy, you're a geneticist, or you're a libertarian, or you're a wrench monkey. Is that what they call him, Kyle? Wrench monkey?
Yeah, I mean that's one of many names.
Okay. You can take this stuff and apply it, but the thing is, I understand where you're coming from. It's where you're coming from is where everyone else is coming from with the red pill, where they want to attach a responsibility, like individual responsibility, to the people that create this stuff. And I'm telling you right now that your happiness is your own responsibility.
So I agree with that, but you were talking about ownership, right? Of individual ownership. Right. So the people who are creating the red pill, I feel, should be taking ownership of their words. And I'm not saying that. So here's the thing: I'm not saying the red pill is wrong.
Well,
let me finish. I'm not saying that those things are wrong. What I'm saying is, I feel that the people who are advocating to the people on the internet and saying these things, if they're in a good spot and if they found a rhythm, I would challenge them to try to improve the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and what I see is the red pills. Like, to me, it's medicine from the 80s, right? It works. It has the effect, but there's side effects.
It's bitter. Like, it's very bitter. It doesn't taste
right. And I'm like, to me, it's like, we can make it better. Like, I love the core of it. I love the self-improvement
and we
aspect
are.
of it.
And we are.
So you're making it more effective, or you're making it more efficient.
You want to cure cancer, it's going to be painful. It's going to be, okay, so...
But what if we can cure cancer without it being painful? Why don't we try to do that?
I guess the main I guess the main question here is, what would that look like? Because, and I'm not trying to say this in a derogatory way, Rin, but like, it seems kind of like you're just advocating for tone policing in hopes that
I think people
I think he's advocating for nuance.
Okay, yeah, I apologize if that's the way.
Okay, he's advocating for nuance. I think I
understand, Rin.
Yeah,
go ahead, Brandy.
I was gonna say, I think he's advocating for nuance, and like in regards to like, okay, like if you're selling a product, right? And like, imagine, Kyle, we're living in a place where like free market, like if we're gonna correlate it to
Ancapistan, just call it Ancapistan.
Ancapistan, right? Like it's all about self-ownership, and everyone has to be responsible for themselves, but also responsible for the products that they are selling. So when you're responsible for the product that you're selling, you have to actually take responsibility for the side effects. And like, and if the side effects are happening, like you need to address them. You can and warn them too. At least have a warning label.
I think Red Pill is saying, like, don't hate women. Like, that's not the messaging we're saying. Which
I think some of them are doing that. I don't think.
Well, it's funny,
and it's not Red Pill. Listen, if it's not useful, it's not Red Pill. Let me say that again. If it's not useful, it's not Red Pill. That's why the science bros kind of don't like us either, because they say a whole bunch of stuff, and we're just like, that's cool, bro. But I can't take charts and things to a date. Like, I can't show my wife charts.
You guys haven't brought data to a date? Come on.
Exactly. Like when your wife is arguing with you or doesn't want to have sex with you, you can't show her charts. Like, hey, you're making me be the bottom 30% of men. You don't want that, do you? No, like you can't do that, right? There is, like, the Red Pill has to be useful. And the thing is that, like, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna help guys out, we have to apply rule 0. And rule 0 is like, hey, it's a means to an end. We don't say assume she's a slut, but don't obsess, because we are in our hearts, we're black pill and we think all women are sluts. We say it so you don't idealize women, and you can enjoy a woman for what she is, a human being that can leave at any moment she wants, and she can come back any moment she wants. And also, when you have sex with her, hopefully, and she does some wild shit in the bedroom, at least you can know you're getting her sexual best, right? Now, if you don't do that, if you pedestalize women tend to clam up more if they feel like you're more pure than they are. That way, then you're gonna get really shitty sex, like trad bro sex.
I was gonna say,
starfish,
like, kind of
starfish sex
with like the whole like trad thing that we're like, you guys are kind of in a little argument, I guess, because
they can argue all they want.
Well, so I'm trying to figure out where I should start, because I have a few videos. There's a guy that I found on Instagram who said he was red pill. He actually is saying how the red pill was kind of harmful for him, and he is now like taken the Christ pill, I suppose is what they are trying to call it. They're trying to make Christ a pill. I can tell you what that idea, but I'll show you. Which one should I start with? I'm going to show you 2 videos in a row. How about that? Sure. They're pretty short.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Dating, like, you and the person you like are on 2 separate sides. When I was younger, I learned a lot from like those red pill content creators. I constantly heard about things like female nature and hypergamy and all of these things. Some like degenerate improvement, and I started to use some of their advice, and it kind of worked. By kind of, I mean I could attract women, but my beliefs were so toxic, there was no way I could have a long-term relationship. Honestly, after watching that much of that type of content, I almost started to feel a bit bitter towards women. See, that's why I preach Christ-focused self-improvement so heavily, because it was times like this where God completely changed this aspect of my life. look at all of the dating content creators now, they almost pitch it in a way where men and women are supposed to be enemies. We talk so much about how masculinity is under attack, but we don't talk about the fact that femininity is also under attack because they both complement each other. That's why Eve came out of Adam's rib.
Literally, Rollo says that. That's a Rolloism.
On opposite sides, you have a system that is trying to break you away from each other and break you away from God. Literally, just over the last few.
Okay, and
yeah, I'm sorry. I can't stand this Jesus smuggling because, like, look, you can be religious. Like, I'm sorry, I can't stand these people who tell you.
Do you guys want more? Because there's one other one.
Yeah, well, let's just say that. But like,
semen retention.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll rant all night because this shit drives me nuts.
Do you hate us, Brandy? Do you hate us?
All right, I have three.
Oh, you lost.
This will be the. This will be the.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh God.
Semen retention is.
Look at that baby face.
Will change forever. I was like 15. I can remember sitting in the back of an RV, mom, and I just casually brought up the idea that I'll probably never get married. I can remember her look of like concern and sadness almost mixed into one. And I thought that because, to be honest, I wasn't good quality, so the women I was hanging out with weren't good quality, so I wasn't having good experiences. Then I was watching like almost like red pill type content, so it reinforced the ideas and the beliefs that I already had. Those creators always talk about how you can't get married anymore in the West or whatever because divorce rate is 50% and all that. If you go into a relationship where you pray over each other each day, it's less than 1%. Ironically, the people that will tell you the spiritual stuff isn't real and they focus on the carnal level are the people with the 50% divorce rate. The people that focus on the spiritual level are less than 1%. Why to think about having sex with them is so easy, but if I were to say pray over that person, now it's too intimate, it's too uncomfortable. Because the spiritual level of you can always crush the carnal level of you.
My carnal level's winning.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just hate...
He's all about the semen retention thing, which is very interesting. I was like, I found him today, and I was like,
Brandy,
this is interesting. I know. I'm like, do I have my boyfriend come fix it again?
I can tell you.
Then help me. Why does it keep fucking up?
Yeah, like the most annoying thing about these religious guys is that it's always like if how good of a person you are always ends up being what makes you look more like them. It's never about like, hey, what is going to work best for you as an individual? It's always what gets you more towards Jesus. And like everybody's religion and the way they worship is going to be completely different. So like just when I see people that just want to berate people over the head because they're not following Christ, whatever that means. And like that's clearly up to you. That is going to be to each individual person. I'm agnostic. I'm completely indifferent about this shit. But just like when people want to berate other people for their morality because the way that they look at the world and the way they may worship is different, I just that shit turns me off and it drives me absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll say this: it's so easy. This is like the same thing as Sneeko. This is everyone that converts to religion after leading the Rouge V. This is like normal. This is a phenomenon that is like another one.
Well, maybe because the red pill was their cult, and now they found a new one.
Here's what happens. Point one, that dude is young as hell. That dude has not lived that. He's not been an adult that long. Like,
where's he look? I don't see a single chin poob on that motherfucker.
that guy looks like 23 or 24, right? So
that's being generous.
That's number one, right? Number two, it's TikTok or IG Reels or whatever. It's a performative, right? He's trying to get followers, so he has to say feel good stuff, right? And number three, it's all intersexual competition, right? This guy, Sovereign Bra.
I have a video of him too, NPC. But I'm sure everyone has seen it except Rin, which is about.
Rollo talks about this almost ad nauseum. It's basically there's intersexual competition. Again, like I said before, I saw the red pill. The red pill, I tried to adopt it because I was using the red pill as a proxy to get women, right? If I'm red pill, I get bitches. That's why a lot of people tune into these podcasts because they live vicariously through, and that's why I say
she's got a point.
Yeah, she does. She does. They live vicariously through red pill content creators. If I watch this podcast and I see these women get kicked off, which I don't care about those women either. Those women are fine. They're American citizens. Like they're gonna be fine. Like who cares?
If they weren't, would they not be fine?
Is that a stand-in for like just like like fake it till you make it PUA stuff? Or
Well, the thing is like it's these young guys get into this stuff, right? And then they learn this stuff, but then what happens is it becomes their identity.
Hi Ben, I love you.
My boyfriend's helping me with my mic. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Keep going, Nuke.
Keep going. Keep going. Ignore me.
Okay. So they use this, like the red pill stuff, as a proxy, thinking that we're all in some kind of cool group of cool guys that smoke cigars and we're in the war room or whatever room or alpha masculinity group 1. And then I'm literally, and see, Rin, this is to your point, right? What you were talking about. Your happiness is your own responsibility. That dude did not apply that. What he did was, I'm red pill. That's my label. Bitches will come to me because I'm so woke and I'm a red pill evangelist. When it should have been, oh, dude, I gotta go out there and I gotta apply this stuff in my real life, and I gotta like do the work myself and hold myself accountable and go out there. And yes, there's gonna be red pill content creators that say stupid shit. I probably said something stupid in the past year that didn't work.
Well, I think everyone.
I have
to.
Shit.
Yeah, we've all said
stupid shit. We all say stupid shit,
right?
Like
but you learn as you go.
But remember,
what bothers me is people die. They die on their hills, you know, like they find a hill and they decide to die.
Well, here's the problem, and here's a big problem that I say this. I got invited to a podcast too, where this young men thing, where everyone thinks that young men are these like poor little creatures. Listen, what do you think is the average age aboard an aircraft carrier, the most powerful weapon in the world that we have? What is the average age? Guess.
20.
23. 22. Actually, it's 22. What do you think is the average age of people operating nuclear reactors aboard those ships?
24.
So young men are smart enough to operate reactors and get a reactor plant started and power the most powerful weapon of all time, which is aircraft carrier, through rough seas with Russian submarines circling around. But they're not smart enough to look at a content creator and be like, hey, that's stupid, right? Now,
see, I think that's a wrong way to look at it. We train those people for years how to operate those sort of things with very specific nuance, right?
But they already have to have the capability to learn that.
I have to make calls. There was an instance where I had to make a call, like, hey, we're down to one reactor. It's all on me. If this reactor goes down, we go dead in the water. Russia finds out that we suck. Washington, D.C. gets a call. I get my license removed and the ship goes dark. And I had to face months of and I had to make a call. Luckily, I made the right call, but I had to rely on this and my intuition, experience, and stuff like that. How about we do this, right? How about we stop babying these young guys? Tell them, hey, no one cares if you suck. No one cares if the red pill didn't work for you. Grow the hell up. Girls are going to continue to have sex. Their body counts may be 1,000 or 5. Who the fuck knows? They'll never tell you. Who cares? Move on and find somebody that makes sense to you. If not, find your dad. The point is not for the red pill not to gain more power. It's just to be there to help you in the future. Who cares if it's not moral or it is moral? It's amoral. It does not matter. You are a man. You have a brain. You have your own morals. You may be Buddhist. You may be Jewish. You may be Christian. That's on you. The red pill does not care. You may have your faith. Rollo wrote a book for 3 years just talking about that. The point is this: any young guys watching, you are in charge of your own destiny. You do not need another man to tell you what to do. And that guy relied on other men to tell him what to feel. He didn't have a father figure. He didn't have a grandpa or an uncle or a coach or something, a sports coach, to tell him, hey, dude, you got to man up and what do you want, right? And which is usually the first question when people come consulting to the red pill, like people like Ryan, we ask them, what is it that you want?
So in my opinion, I love what you're saying, but and I know that you guys are very specific on men, but for me, this feels like for the individual, right? So like when you make it very like gender specific, it's like, that's fine. And actually I have another video that I was going to show, but I don't even need to, I'll just paraphrase. And it was a woman talking about being in your feminine is what it means, that you're if you're taking care of yourself, then you're not in your feminine, right? And or if you're having to take care of a lot of things, you're not in your feminine. And I actually hate that, because people are pretending that like mothers and people that like have to like deal with shit. Like my boyfriend has a medical issue right now. Like I definitely have to take care of things. That doesn't mean that you're not in your feminine. And I think that there's this thing where it's like, oh, in order for men to be in their masculine, they have to take care of everything and they have to take care of all of this shit. And women need to be like the submissive people that that get taken care of. And I dislike that idea because I actually don't think that's true, because I think that you take care of each other and you submit to each other. I don't believe that it's one person submitting to the other person. You are both submitting, because when one person has a problem, you have to step in your role and you need to take care of them. And when they are having a problem, you need, like when you're having a problem, like they have to help take care of you. It's going to happen both ways, and you can't act like it doesn't happen. Like crises happen, things happen, and you're pretending that like that doesn't exist in the real world. I think is a delusion. I think it goes both ways. So I think accountability for the individual is important. It's not like creating this like, oh, like gender differences, blah blah blah. Sure, they exist. I'm not going to pretend that they don't.
Okay,
but the accountability is important for everyone.
Well, let me give you an example, right? This hypothetical. Pretend I am your boyfriend for a second. Oh, I'm getting sick. Let me go. My girl's gonna leave me because she has to take care of me. What do I do? Let me go online on the forum. Hey guys, I'm getting sick and I need my girl to take care of me for however long. Well,
wait, why would
is she gonna? Hold on,
just follow along.
Example. Okay. I don't know what to do. I feel like she's gonna leave me. What do you guys think I should do? Smart poster 1 responds, hey dude, if she loves you and she's doing the right things, relax. She's just, that's what relationships are about, ups and downs. You're gonna get sick at some point. She's gonna get sick. Just don't become a slot, like an emotional mess, right? But also let her take care of you. She wants to step up, and as long as she's taking care of everything and you're taking care of what you can, then the relationship's fine. That's the red pill. And do you know why that's the red pill? Because it's useful. Does that make sense, Brandy? Yeah, I'm not saying your boyfriend. I'm not saying your boyfriend would go do that, to go like go online and form to ask, but like hypothetically speaking, that's what men do.
No,
they
but
go
I
find
had
answers.
a stalker, and my boyfriend had to help take care of me. Like there are two things. Like, and this was a very stressful time in my life.
You guys are acting in a complimentary way.
Pearl just said, feminine is serving, selfless. Love is serving and selfless. It's not feminine or masculine. That is what love is. I think that when you love someone, you are serving and helpless. And to say that a man isn't selfless when he loves you, that's bullshit. Both of you are selfless to each other. So I actually disagree with that. And yeah, nothing to do with the job, fine. But like, I don't think that doesn't make you feminine. I think there's.
But why are you worried about other people's definition of if your relationship works? Why do you worry about other people?
Well, actually, in regards to masculine and feminine, because these are two things that I'm very passionate about, and I'm a content creator. Okay. So, I actually am very passionate about these two concepts in general, not just on a on a spiritual level too. I'm like a very spiritual religious person. So if we're going to talk about like the Christ pill and all of these things, I consider myself an esoteric Christian. Every other Christian would call me a heretic, and that's fine.
So what you're saying is that you're a red pill. That sounds like you're a red pill.
No, because women can't be red pilled.
Well, like what you're saying is basically saying I do what works for me when I need something, when I need answers. I go apply it, it works, and I go back to my life. That's it. You see how there's not a lot of money in that? There's not a lot of money. But if
there's no money in what, like, in my message. I don't think. This is not a grift.
Everybody kind of says that.
Not a lot of money.
There's a lot of people that say there's no money in their message, but they're definitely selling stuff. I'm not saying that's you, but
Kyle, you making money on this podcast over there?
No, believe me. I have all the supplements there. Believe me, I'm not making a lot of money.
I actually think it becomes a grift when you have like this like agenda. Like that's when it becomes a grift, is when it's like,
well, let them grift.
When it's like you're pushing an idea that you're not willing to change.
Come on, Brandy, come on. I'm rooting for you, Brandy. Come on.
Sorry.
Do we wait?
My mic's fucked.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. But
well,
no,
here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. Listen, I live in a comfortable apartment. Plumbing's good, electricity is good, infrastructure is good. My job supports infrastructure. Life gets more and more comfortable every day. They invent a gadget that makes life more comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guy with podcast says something. Yeah, guy with podcast says something offensive. Great, cool.
Well, here, like, okay. I think that the problem is like when, like, what Ryan I think is trying to say, it's like when you start selling a product, you're not ever going to be willing to change it if you realize that there's flaws in the product, which is what happens within like a lot. This is literally the argument against like free market capitalism a lot of the times, is because, oh, if you have this.
Yeah, if you have it, you don't want to. There's no incentive to improve
if you're making a profit, you're not going to change it.
You know what, Pearl's asking about what like femininity is, and this kind of goes to like a larger topic today. When people talk about masculinity and femininity, it's almost like a grift at this point, because it's always people will define these terms as whatever their agenda is. Like people use these terms to just basically tell you what they think the terms mean, when really they're pretty boring terms in and of themselves. Like
Kyle,
masculinity
are you saying that gender is a construct? That's
no. I'm not saying that. Well, I'm saying that like today, when people talk about masculinity, literally the definition reads as like pertaining to male and boys. That's literally all it says. And then femininity would probably say something akin to whatever, relates to the
domestic
behaviors.
All of this stems. Does anyone know where any of these gender roles came from? Because they are historic and they stem from history. They existed in the Mesopotamia era. They existed in the ancient Roman era. It is always existed. Okay, so I feel like, but the thing is that people think that it was. I'm sorry, guys. For some reason, my mic.
We forgive you, Brandy. You got it, Brandy.
No, but I didn't touch it this time. I don't understand. My boyfriend bought me a really fancy mic, and it's too fancy.
Well, it sounds good at least. You just gotta figure it out
when it's on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Like again, if we step back, people are very confused. People are hurt. Both men and women. Life is, a lot of people are confused. Like I said, I think people are starting to figure out that because of technology, the sexes don't have a lot to offer each other anymore, right? I like, you tell a woman, hey, what do you have to offer a man outside of sex? The average woman, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not doing shit for a guy. Maybe they'll fall in love with a guy or two and they'll do the right things, but then they get their heart broken and they swear they'll never do those things for a man again. And then men are the same, where we invest into women and then we don't get anything out, and then we get hurt, and then we start realizing on a long enough timeline, you start looking back and you're like, I don't have much to offer men except women except two things right now, and that's excitement and genetic material, right? And it's shown in statistics, it's shown in anecdotes, and it's shown basically in how the business reflects it. All these dating podcasts do reflect it. And I think everyone's just scrambling because we got given godlike power, which is phones and dating apps and social media. And now we don't know what to do. We're just like, all this power, what do we do? And they're like, I think it's strange that, that a girl go ahead.
Well, what do men have to offer other men?
Outside, what do you mean?
No,
like in what context?
So you're saying the sexes don't have a lot to offer each other, but what do people have to offer each other within the sexes?
Well, friendship for one, cooperation to get jobs done. I'm just talking about relationship wise. Like I'm not.
No, but about... so to me, like I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm seeing it almost as like what you talk about with agency with men, and that loss and how powerful that is. It's almost like, to me, it feels like both like women and men are now having like almost like a parity of agency. And so then the old view of like it, again, I'm trying to like translate what I'm hearing you saying and visualizing it, but it's like relationships used to work in the face of hardship, right? Like when they were farmers, it's like, we need to work together, have kids to fucking have more labor. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now we're living in kind of like relatively like there's a lot less hardship. There's a lot less fucking difficulty.
We don't need each other anymore. We don't need each other.
Right. And so I don't think of it as much as the sexes has less to offer each other. It's people, you know, we don't have as much just hand given purpose because we don't have a lot of like obstacle to overcome. Our lives are easy now. So I think treating people like I think men have to look at women more like, oh, I want a friend and I want to share these things. So what Brandy's point was.
But that takes discipline.
Agreed.
The hard
I do agree with that. Yes.
So that's the hard part, right? Because I personally, like, this hasn't been spoken about in the Red Pill. Maybe someday somebody will corroborate. But I personally think the only thing I have to offer to women, is genetic material, if I'm not careful, right? And fun and excitement. At least that's what in the beginning. That's the only thing that women want me for, and it's worked. That mental model for me. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Right. But like, that's the only thing in the beginning. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to slowly inch towards, hey, maybe she's going to give me companionship. Right. But understand, I'm a man and I have limitations. Right. I was seeing a girl casually for almost 2 years. And we ended up going to Mexico last year. And she's great. Right. She's even cried in my arms, you know, all these things. Right. But she bounced. Like, I don't know where she's gone. Right. And that's fine. You know, she's not mine. It's just my turn. Great. The thing is with this companionship stuff and all these things that beyond sex or beyond excitement and just genetic material is that now it takes discipline because there is no incentive to stay. So if I want a girlfriend and she wants a boyfriend, it takes an extreme amount of conscious effort, meaning tell the average girl, hey, you know, you can't keep your DMs open for other men. And then women will argue, well, I'm not answering those men, right? And then women will be like, hey, you can't follow IG models. So I'm like, I have no chance with those models, right? None of this would be an issue if things were hard, because we'd be like, whatever. Because when I grew up in Latin America, my friends, they all followed booty models when IG just came out. And
that's all.
Well, but none of the fights with their girlfriends were about who they followed. But now it's a fight because what we're doing right now is women are trying to go for a perfect mental state where they have this perfect alpha 50% alpha 50% beta perfect guy in a relationship, and guys are just like, I can't be that for you. And I've stumbled into like things where like girls are like, I don't want you to be my boyfriend. I don't want anything from you except sex and excitement. Take me out to dinner and I'll do whatever you want. Just I don't like, you know, implicitly, right? And you even ask them like, hey, you sure you don't want anything serious? You're like, no, I like where we're at now. Okay. And the problem is that as humans go along, right, we have these limitations. We have jealousy. We have, and I know you've overcome that, Ren, in your community, if I'm not mistaken.
Saying I'm some fucking monk.
I mean,
but also, we're horny.
Either, though,
yeah,
too,
yeah, we're horny, and I think there's this big incentive, like coming from a guy who grew up in Latin America, that men and women, we understood each other so well. So if I was on a date with a Latina girl in Puerto Rico or Mexico, Dominican Republic, and a hot girl comes by and I look at her, the Latina doesn't get mad and ruin the day. She's like, yeah, he's a man. If I have a garage where I work on cars at my house and I have a booty calendar on the wall, and I've seen this multiple times in multiple homes of my friends' dads, right? The woman doesn't care. She's happy. The house is happy. But now as a man, there was this whole thing because conservatives had a booty calendar, and it became this thing.
It wasn't even a booty calendar. That's
sort of. Yeah. But the point is like, if you take a big look at it, what's happening is this: we are not good enough for each other. That's it. That's what I feel.
I would actually agree with you, but that's every individual. Like, it's like it comes down to the person. It's not that it's like the women like that are not good enough for the men and the men are not good enough for the women. It is an individual thing. And in regards to like jealousy, like for me, like how I look at it is like if girls hit on my boyfriend, I think that's hot because I'm like, I think it's hot.
It confirms that he's wanted. Yeah.
Well, it's like, oh yeah, I know he is hot. I get it. Like,
now,
you know.
But if only there was a mental model that addressed that, and there is, and it's called making yourself.
But it has to go both ways. That's the thing.
But we're not worried about that. We're not worried about that.
I know.
Wait, what I'm saying is, Brandy, is like there's a mental model. Like I expressed a problem. Like, look what I'm doing right now. I'm expressing a problem that I see in my life that I feel like I don't have anything to offer women, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much muscles I have, whatever, right? No matter what hobbies, right? I'm playing to an insecurity of mine. But then, oh wait, Red Pill has a thing to keep me kind of level headed and like okay about that, and that's called making yourself your point of origin. Meaning that I'm gonna continue doing my things, the things I need to do to be better. If a girl just so happens to be on my program and wants to go for the ride, then she may, as long as she does the things necessary to stay in my life.
That's my favorite thing that the Red Pill says is the make yourself that's my
the mental
favorite
point
part.
of origin.
Yeah, and like that I agree.
And that's why I think that you guys are a Red Pill podcast, because you guys are just like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm just like, Rin, you're just as Red Pill as me, man.
I mean, I'm happy to be Red Pill if Red Pill can adopt some empathy.
No, but on a serious note, these are problems that real guys have at different parts of their life. When they're younger, guys tend to like get thrown out fast because girls are in their little hoe phase. So they have to be like, okay, it's not yours, it's just your turn. But now when you get older, you're like, okay, I'm jacked, I got money, but these girls don't want to settle. Fuck these bitches, excuse the language, right? But instead, the Red Pill says, hey, dude, calm down. It's not that big a deal. Make yourself your own mental point of origin. And when a girl, the relationship is her problem. If she wants to be in a relationship with you, that's her problem. You have excellence to chase. And that's it. Problem solved. It didn't take a 3-hour podcast. Shout out Rolo. It didn't take
3. You mean 5?
Yeah. It didn't take 6 books. It didn't take you giving $100 so you could tell a girl to shut up on a podcast. It just took you looking at that phrase, having a little bit of experience, and looking inside and be like, it's not about changing the world, it's about changing myself. And
okay, so like I want to tail on to the end of this. Like one important thing, and Ryan brings this up a lot, especially when he talks about dread, is that like it's about not being taken advantage of. So like a lot of guys have this mental model where they think that like if I could just be nice enough to women, then eventually I'm going to punch enough pieces off of my nice guy card to get laid. And like that's such a bad idea, because this idea of like equity, where like if you just keep putting points into this equity bank with a person, then you're eventually going to be rewarded with sex. It's such like a bad ideal, right? Yeah. Exactly. But that's the way that a lot of guys think, is that if you just continually do nice things for women, that eventually entitles you to sex. Now once again, it's a very, very bad mental model, because like that equity will never be like what you think is like 3 points is never going to be 3 points to that other person, if that makes sense. Like
it may be negative.
Exactly. Yeah, like they'll never interpret how meaningful that interaction is to you in the same way. And so like just ditching that idea entirely is very, very useful for guys, because they've been taught to think that way. Yeah.
From a woman, can I just say, like, from the other direction, like it's like women feeling like they can be really nice, and that's going to entitle them to love and respect. Like you can be really nice to a guy. That doesn't mean that they're going to love and respect you. Do you know what I'm saying?
So
and like
what does the Red Pill? Sorry, Brandon, I didn't mean to cut you. Go
continue.
ahead. I was gonna say, what does the Red Pill like advocate in situations where you're in a marriage and your partner, you guys were having sex happily for 5 years, and then you're monogamous, and they're like, I don't want to have sex with you anymore. What is what is the Red Pill advice there?
Okay, so mental model number.
I fucking hate dread. I love Ryan, but I hate dread.
If you hate dread, then you hate Ryan, Brady. That's how it works.
No, I know. Me and Ryan, like I actually want to have Ryan.
Well, you're not supposed to like
talk about dread.
You're not supposed to like it. It's healthy
because
if you don't
dread.
like it.
No, because dread reminds me.
I'm out of the loop. What's dread?
Okay, well, one, I just want to say,
it's
like,
not being taken advantage of.
No, but dread in the concept reminds me of some of the things that my ex-boyfriend used to do, and he was like physically abusive. Like it was very bad. Like he broke my pinky. Like it's still crooked.
Well, that's not
dread.
This goes you're being solipsistic.
Yeah.
You're being solipsistic.
Sure.
Yes, you are.
But no, I said sure. My point is that I think that the point is that like I think people can use that concept in a very dark place.
Yeah,
like, and one, why do you don't need to use dread if you're in a relationship that's healthy. And if
what
you're
is
in an
what is
unhealthy
wait
what does
relationship-
healthy mean?
What is dread?
Okay.
Okay, I got all these questions.
Nuke, explain what dread is.
Yeah, good.
So basically, dread is it's a way that you show your value to a girl, so you won't get taken for granted.
No, but explain it better than that. Explain examples of how
that's
to
what
do
it.
dread.
That's what it is at its core.
Something you would use in an existing relationship,
right? To let your girl know that not to take you for granted, that you can.
So these are, I'm assuming, manipulative tactics to employ in a relationship to get what you want.
Well, that's up to you to decide. I'll give you an example. I go to the gym, and I get a good pump, and I have a bicep vein. You know, girls like their bicep veins.
Pump. Yeah, I know what you're talking about here.
And then I go up to the front desk with my girl because I'm working out with my girl, and the girl at the front desk kind of is like a little bit flirty with me, like, "Hey, what's up? I haven't seen you for a while." You know, instead of me being like, "Hey, don't talk to me like this is I'm with my girl," I just encourage it. I'm just like, "Well, no, you know, it's just I've been busy, but it's nice to see you." Like it could be seen as like flirty, but it's also a normal conversation. Like just telling someone, but you're letting your girl know that there's a girl that's also attractive, that's interested and remembers you, and that makes her think, "Oh, this guy's a man in demand. I made the right choice by getting with this guy, because if other girls like him, then you know it shows." And that's called it's like pre-selection, right?
Yeah, I get that. But now what if that doesn't work to get what you want?
Then she never liked you in the first place, and your problem is solved.
Okay, so
no, but
like
okay,
red pill is very simple, very simple.
No, here's what I'm saying in regards to that, because I thought that it can be more than just, because I'm not like a jealous person in general. I feel like my ex-boyfriend was mad that I didn't feel dread. Like he wanted to make me feel dread, and because I wasn't jealous, it meant that I didn't love him enough, because I'm not a jealous person.
That's abuse, Brandy.
No, I'm well aware, but like what I'm saying is that like I can see dread being like people thinking that that's going to be a healthy experience in a relationship, because for me, I don't even like dread basically plays off of jealousy, right? Like it plays off of the emotion of jealousy. You have to be a jealous person in order for dread to work, right?
Well, not jealousy, because jealousy is like you know, like you're not letting me leave the house because you'll think I'll cheat on you.
No,
I think it's basically it's confirming your value, right? So that's essentially what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to prove your own social value.
Girls forget. That's the problem,
exactly.
Right? Girls forget. We get taken for granted a lot. Like,
you're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head,
Randy?
No. I'm not saying that men don't get taken for granted at all. Like
listen. I made a joke the other day. There was a video I saw on Twitter of a guy cutting down a giant tree, right? And it did this thing, I forgot what it's called, where a tree fell in on itself. And that's very dangerous, right? In the lumberjack world, you got to run for your life, right? The tree's supposed to fall a certain way. But if it falls on itself, I mean, it can fall anyway. You got to run for your life. And guys that are lumberjacks face this every single day. It's very dangerous, right? They're risking their lives so that table can be made, that wood can be made into a table that could be bought by a podcaster, so they could put girls.
So they can yell at women on podcasts.
So the girls can go on that podcast and say that men aren't stepping up. But that table was made by male sacrifice. That's how much you guys take men for granted, to the point where
I don't take that for granted.
Right, but the materials that we have in front of us, all this nice technology, a lot of men, me being in infrastructure, I work in places where things get made, and where men have to work really hard in order to get things done, like airports, cargo airports, corporate buildings, warehouses, factories, food processing places.
What's going to happen when the AI takes those jobs away?
They won't. But the thing is, like, no, girls don't think about that. When I saw that guy almost die from cutting down a tree, I looked at my table and I was like, thank God, man, that there's people willing to do this dangerous job, so I could have this cheap table and use it so I could complain about women on a podcast, you know. Thank God. But women don't think like that. But that's natural. You guys aren't supposed to think like that.
I don't know if I equate those. Like, I appreciate people doing dangerous things so I can have the things that the reaping the benefit of that. But why like, you know, I don't do that. So why are women not appreciating it, and I'm not appreciating it either? But I'm not at fault.
He was just
Like,
using that as an
Brian, you
example.
don't
No, I
sit
understand, but I'm
around
trying to
and think
understand
about
why.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm
keep
getting
going.
there.
Let me
Right.
shut up.
So we in the red pill, we don't denigrate women for being the way they are. That would be stupid, right? No, that's a waste of time. We accept women the way they are. So we say, okay, how do we come up with a way to remind women that we love and that love us of our values, so they don't just run away at the first sight of another man or a difficult situation in life, like cancer, illness, death of a family member, economic hardship, so they can stay with us and we can grow old together. How do I use something? So we say, hey, let's call this dread. It's a strong word. It's meant to get your attention. It's a scary word, but it kind of shows men like, hey, if you just walk around in a tank top and you get in shape and you walk around in a tank top, that's dread, because other girls are checking you out. And your girl's like, well, who are these bitches checking my man out? Do they think they can get him? No, he's mine. And that way women stay with you. It looks manipulative, but right? Is it manipulative in a bad way if it keeps the relationship together?
Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to understand. Yeah.
Well, so like one interesting thing is that like women pick up
if like what Ben said in chat, like if he initiated our relationship with dread and like tried to be like if that's how our interactions started, right? And like it was all with this like trying to make me feel dreadful. I feel like I would be like, okay,
you want to detect
clearly
it.
You're not into it. Like clearly you're like not invested, or
it's,
like
I think you're interpreting
you're
interpreting this as it's going to be like an overt display.
No, there's two types of dread. Yeah,
right. It's not supposed to be an overt display. It's supposed to be kind of like a covert display. So like when I play a show or something like that, right? Like let's say when my band opened for Steel Panther, I didn't say like, oh my God, look how valuable I am because I'm I'm playing in front of over 1,000 people to a sold out show. This was like, hey, people admired me because I was able to put myself in that position, right? So that's what you want, is you want that dread. Like you want a woman to, I don't necessarily say want, but like if a woman comes up to you and compliments you, then that confirms in her head that like, hey, I have a guy that's valuable because, other women value him.
Well, I just said that I think it's hot when guys hit on my boyfriend.
Right,
but it's different.
You said guys hit on your boyfriend?
I mean, girls.
Hey, guys, that could be seen as a
fair enough.
Yeah. If you get hit on by gay dudes, you're a handsome man. That's just like
no, but not just. But my point is like I guess maybe it's the word dread, because
you hate active dread. You hate because passive dread is
a display of lower value.
Listen, if you're a guy that put in the work, makes himself attractive, just going outside with a new haircut is enough to get some girls like, hey, where are you going with your new haircut? Why don't you stay home? She understands that you're an attractive man, and that if you're outside, you're going to get some level of female attention, whether it be a look, whether it be a wink, whether it be a flirty exchange. She knows that, right? That's why we say, hey, get in shape, work on how you look, fix your teeth, fix your facial hair. That way you'll run dread, but it'll be like passive. It'll be like in the background. You don't have to worry. Active dread is a demonstration of lower value. For example, if me and you go to Applebee's, right? And the sex life ain't so good, and the waitress comes up and I start flirting with her overtly right in front of you, like in a disrespectful way almost. That's active dread.
Okay, I guess,
and that's a demonstration of lower value.
I wouldn't interpret passive dread as the word dread. So for me, I'm very like weird about words.
The word.
Like I care about like what words mean, and like I don't like it when we change what they mean, because as I said, I feel like that's a postmodernist tactic that they use. When they take a word and then they manipulate what it means. Like for me, dread means that you're dreadful. And so when in passive dread, what you're describing wouldn't make me feel dread. So why are we calling it?
Because it's subconscious. Because it's subconscious. You're not going to feel
it's also
anything.
it's not for you either.
Would Kyle or Nuke, would either of you say that active dread is inherently more aggressive, negative than passive?
Yeah, it's a demonstration of lower value because it makes you look stupid, like you're trying to.
Oh, okay. So you actually think active dread doesn't
ever promote active
tactic.
dread, is what you're saying?
Passive dread.
Promote.
Right. Passive. This is passive dread. I want to give you an example. Well, this is kind of like active, passive, right? I'm talking to a girl and I tell her, hey, I'm going to salsa night. she can't tell me no. She knows I'm gonna be dancing with other girls that are hot and maybe Hispanic, and you guys have seen Hispanic women. They are hot and curvy, right? And she
They're
can't.
spicy.
Yeah, they can't tell me no because that's what it's like. It's
Cultural,
what
yeah.
It's a cultural thing, right? Because I'm Dominican, and also it's like my hobby. It's what I do, right? And if she says no, then it makes her look controlling, and makes her look insecure. So she'll be like, okay, I either join him or let him have his night. The problem is with this kind of stuff is that women are attracted to men that that are confirmed by other women to be attractive, right? And there's just nothing you can do about that. It's just the way you guys are wired, right? Is it fair? Hey, it's not fair all the
I
time.
actually believe that reason, and being a rational being, hey, this is what makes me a feminist, also exists in women too. So
Yeah.
and women can be very controlled by their emotions inherently, but I actually believe that making women more rational isn't a bad thing. Which is why I would still call myself a feminist on a certain degree, because I actually think rationality for women is a good thing to promote, not something that we should discourage. So yeah. Anyway, this is a fucking great podcast. I loved it, and
I had
I'm really
fun.
happy.
You guys are pretty cool. My
you
favorite
came
Red Pill
on.
podcast. You guys are my favorite new Red Pill podcast.
We're the Red Pill. We already decided.
You guys are it,
dude. I don't want to be in it. Don't.
Well,
don't.
well, with Nuke
yes,
and I
you
here,
do,
it's
Brandy.
50.
One
Yeah,
of us. One of us. One of us.
No, Rolo retweets me. I'm always just like, oh, okay. No, I love it, but I'm always just like, oh no. I think I'm Red Pill, but I'm not. Or I'll be like, trads have called me Red Pill, and I'm like, what the fuck?
We'll just run dread on you, and then you'll be on our side. We'll just run some dread.
It's not that I'm not on anyone's side. I'm a neutral because I care about
That's
ideas.
what Red Pill is. That's
No,
what Red
I
Pill
care
is. You're
about
on no one's
ideas.
side.
Well,
you are your own person, Brandy. You are an individual. You are a libertarian. Remember?
I mean, Red Pill. You can't just take credit for oh, I'm a Stoic, and oh, you Red Pill, and I'm like, that's.
Oh, you believe in individualism? Oh, you Red Pill now.
You're not mine, Rin. You're not mine, Rin. It's just my turn.
I mean, that's the world I live in. I can be someone's and have a turn with someone else.
But the thing is, listen, Red Pill isn't an identity. It isn't a force of nature. It isn't a Legion of Doom. Remember the old Justice League cartoons where Lex Luthor would go into the swamp and they'd figure out how to beat back. We're not that. It's just hey, dude, you applied something that you saw in a book, you use it, you made your life good, and then you move on and you do other stuff, actually cool stuff. Being Red Pill isn't cool. It's like C-SPAN, right? It's boring. It's boring as hell. You watch it and you're just like, okay, I'll do this, and it worked. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my exciting life, right? And what happens is we have to make it a little exciting to catch eyes. But deep down, Red Pill's boring. It's like reading a text. It's like reading a phone book,
Hey. Being a nerd's cool. I think becoming cooler, but either way, I've never been cool a day in my life because I've always been a nerd. So
I'm a huge dork. I literally have an anime hat over there on my piano.
Rin, are you saying I'm cool?
I'm saying I'm cool.
Oh, you're.
I mean, I was playing World of Warcraft before we got on.
Who's the biggest nerd on this panel? Wait, I want to know who's the biggest nerd on this panel. Is it me?
No. Okay, so when I was in 6th grade, I sat down with a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper and 2 cans of vegetable. Hold on. and I'm getting there. Yeah, jeez. And I played World of Warcraft for 2 days straight, and then pretty much on the Sundays that my wife works, that's pretty much what I do all day. I go deadlift in the morning, and then I come home and I chill with my dogs and play World of Warcraft all day.
The deadlifting, it kind of balances out the
So you're calling me mid. You're calling me mid.
You're mid, bro. You're fucking mid.
What's your hierarchy? I play Magic the Gathering, and I make Magic the Gathering references.
All right, I played Yu-Gi-Oh. I still play Yu-Gi-Oh online. What's the other nerdy thing I do? I watch anime.
I watch anime.
I went to an anime party the other day. I dressed up.
Is
I did
video
cosplay.
games and anime? I was gonna say video games, anime, and I read books.
Wait, you're into anime?
What?
Oh yeah, Brandy's a huge anime nerd.
Oh my god. Yes.
What?
Wait, but is nobody playing? Nobody rolling dice playing? I don't even play Dungeons and Dragons.
My older brother.
D&D.
I play other shit. That's
my best friend.
More
my
niche.
Best friend. Whenever my best friend moves to Dallas, we're gonna get into D&D. But
Okay, well, you know what we should do?
I got an Elden Ring map as my. This is fun.
I've been wanting to play D&D
where's your
for a
fucking
while.
nerd shit?
I just need a master. Dungeon master.
What we should do is we should all find a game that we would play together and just do like a long Twitch stream and just drink and talk copious amounts of shit sometime. I think that'd be an absolute blast.
Dude, I'll play. Dude, Kyle, are you any good at Smash Brothers?
Oh my god!
That's like so basic.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
Not nerdy.
I mean, it's one of those things that like I'd love.
Yeah, and that's like a universal thing, though. Listen, I would totally play Smash with you guys.
Sweet.
You see how boring Red Pill stuff is? Like, I'm actually enjoying this conversation now.
We fucking fired this up.
He's enjoying it now after 2 hours.
Now we get to the meat and potatoes.
Thank you for the conversation. I appreciate your open-mindedness to go back and forth. Like Rolo has a big he's got his like steamroll speed.
Well, he's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah. I don't begrudge that. But you
got his thing, and I'm
the next generation.
Yeah, I know, but but as we said, it says if the product is producing bad results, and maybe not for everyone, but for some people, is there a way to improve the product, or do we just keep selling the same product? Is basically what me and Rin's opinion. It's not saying that I think the product is bad and we need to throw it off the shelf. It's that maybe there's room for improvement.
Okay.
Because when you have a product, sometimes there's room for improvement.
Why do you think I'm here?
No, I love it.
I listen. I work on cars all day, every day. So believe me, I see products that need improvement all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Do you see how I don't like? You know what I use to like market my stuff? I use anime.
Are you the Neo Red Pill? You're like the newest of the.
Oh my god! The
Neo, well, I'm the newest. Yeah. I'm the chosen one. No, listen.
Save the Matrix.
One of them.
No, but that has multiple meanings, so it's kind of wild.
But the thing is, like, I'm not a person that's going to tell people what to do. But however, I want people to look at my life, look that I'm not anything special. I'm a normal dude. I have nerdy hobbies. Like we're having a nerd off. We had a nerd off. Who was the nerdiest? I'm pretty
sure I would win though. But
maybe Brandy will win.
I think I lost.
Yeah, you're too cool. You're
get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out
he's
here.
He's the guy stuffing us in lockers. But the thing is, there's nothing to add to the Red Pill, right? Everything's been talked about, right? Maybe the language is going to change a little bit, but here's the thing. I've applied it, and I want everyone to see what happens to a guy that applies it, right? I have a normal life. I don't hate women. I don't love women. It's just they're women. They're just people.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Can neither confirm nor deny.
My relationship status is I am,
I don't have a girlfriend. I just know a girl who get really, really mad to hear me say
that. No, I'm single. I'm a single man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying
we use the term available. That's totally fine.
This isn't. Yeah. That wasn't meant to be like a diss or anything.
No, I understand. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I want guys to see my life and feel like they can do that if they just stop being stupid. And Red Pill isn't the path to money. It's not the path to more women. It's not. That's on you. The Red Pill's path to inner peace is, guys. So you don't have to be on your couch crying.
It's the Confucianism of
like you're not 31 years old crying because you didn't see it coming when your girlfriend left you. When you could have ended it 3 years ago. Stop wasting your life. It's like looking at a podcast where girls are saying like, I fucked 10 dudes a day or 10 dudes a week and I don't care and I hate men, and look at that and be like, what a silly girl, whatever, and then go back to your life instead of looking at that and being like, oh, women. No, that's at the end of the day, it's inner peace. We want to be at peace. We want to look at a girl and not feel anything. Like, I want to go down the street and walk my dog and a girl pet my dog and I'm not think, wow, I need to have her in my life, she's so hot, or oh, I hate this girl, she's the reason the West is falling. It's just like, oh, it's just a person. It's a normal person. I have abundance, so I don't have to look at every girl as an opportunity.
Sounds very feminist of you to make women into people and to and making them individuals.
Well, no, feminism is another thing. That's a whole.
We're gonna end the podcast. We're gonna have more dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of opinions and all this stuff, but like, I as I said, this is why I don't look at the red pill as like a net negative kind of thing. I see good. I see things that I don't think are good. I don't know. I know there are a lot of people that I see that are, I guess I would say, not interpreting it how you did
in
and
a
didn't
healthy
aren't
way.
getting there. Yeah, they're in an unhealthy way. Exactly. So I think that would be my only critique, is like figuring out how to like not create as many of them. But
don't worry, life will teach them. Life will teach them. You can't
oh
be mad
God,
forever.
do you think
You
like
can't be
what
mad
like
forever.
yeah, that's true.
Something's got to give.
Did you
He's
go
right.
through a mad phase? Were
Yeah.
you mad for a while?
Yeah.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
You just you once again, I think Nuke and I both come from a very, very similar place, and we talked about this when he did my show a couple weeks ago, where it's just about not being average, right? And what he said there a few minutes ago about just like he wants people to see his life and see that he's doing well, and just kind of take away from that like what you will. I really like that idea, and that's kind of what I've always pushed, like regardless of whether it's red pill, whether it's libertarianism, whether it's my health and fitness content. I want people to take away that like you can be better than average if you just give a fuck, right? Like if you're willing to go to the gym 2 to 3 days a week, maybe even 4, you could be stellar in lifting. If you apply red pill principles, hold on, I'll get there. If you apply red pill principles to your life, then your relationship could be absolutely fantastic. And if you learn more about libertarianism, then your political understanding can become fantastic.
I was gonna say, when are you creating the Red Pill Libertarian Caucus?
Who, me?
No. I will.
Red pill politics never should meet.
Dude, it was a joke, though. Please. I mean, we play around with these kinds of stuff because we're a very silly party. But all right,
you guys are this is the new Red Pill podcast. Thank you. I learned so much from you guys in Red Pill. You guys taught me so much. So
yeah. How about Nuke? Tell us where people can find you and get your
plugs.
So
get more of you.
If you guys can even deal with me at this point, but I put my link tree in the chat. Find me on Twitter. I'm active on Twitter, YouTube. Obviously, like and subscribe. It's all in the link tree. And guys, like my final thought is forgive yourself as a man. It's okay to be mad. Life sucks. Like it's just hard. Get over it. Don't be like that guy in that video. Like he looked at a red pill content creator as his dad. Like you have to be your own hero. Like you are your own hero. We're here to trade notes if you need them, but I'm not gonna help. I can't help you beyond that, right? I can only point out stuff and then we move on, right? And I'm not even that important. I ain't shit, right? I'm not better than you, and you're not better than me. You're just a guy in a different walk of life. You're trying to figure stuff out. There's going to be loud voices. There's going to be women that say you suck that don't know you. There's going to be men that say you suck that don't know you. Who cares? Focus on you. And at the end of the day, you're going to be okay. I promise. No matter how much you despair, trust me, every guy I know has been in a dark place. You're going to be okay. I promise. So, yeah.
Let go. Kyle?
Yeah, you could find me at Komatovic. I'm currently on a strike on Twitter, so if anyone tried to get a hold of me within the last 12 hours, I think I still got another 3 hours. That's because I posted a picture of Mr. Krabs nailing Taylor Swift. So that one got me to strike. So yeah, you can find me at Komatovic on Twitter. That's KYLEMATOVCIK. Check out A Common Crown. We just put our newest single, Cry. 13 days ago. If you listened to Rollo's stream with the Cake Girls, it was at the very end of that, and then obviously you could find that on all major streaming platforms. 5 Till Midnight is the podcast I do on Mondays with the guys from Biting the Bullet, Adam Nutter and Sam Urban, and then you can find my personal podcast in Liberty and Health, usually 2 days a week. I got Scott Horton coming on next week for a debunking propaganda episode, and yeah, that's all I got going on.
You're written.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, actually,
we love you, Rin.
We love you, Rin. We love you.
Rin and me, we have a show coming on February 16th. If you're in the New England area, it is Cult of Art. It's a burlesque.
It's a variety burlesque show.
Variety burlesque, comedy, all sorts of stuff. It's a good time, and Rin has a very special act that he does that is it's the highlight in my opinion.
Just send pictures, please.
Personal
I'll give you a
highlight.
video, don't worry.
It's a personal. Oh, I already have pictures. I've got videos. It's a great time, and everyone should come on February 16th in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And yeah, GG's, y'all. G fucking
Thanks so much,
G's,
everybody.
let go.
Thanks for coming by.
Bye, guys.
Peace.